I know you're looking at me. Nice. I know you're looking at me. 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 I know you're looking at me.
Welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Club Open 2019 Fall Split. This is the South Asian region. My name's Blankcast. I'm just today by John Allen over here. He's been breaking down the action for you. Vivo is our title sponsor of the PMCO 2019 for the South Asian region today. So, amazing PUBG games. They need an amazing mobile phone, and the Vivo V17 Pro is the official smartphone for it. They are the PMCO 2019 Fall Split sponsor for Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka.
With multi-turbo acceleration technology, cold start speeds increase 25%. 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of ROM with dual engine fast charging, the V17 Pro never hesitates.
Not at all. Not to mention it feels great in your hands as well. So we had some great PUBG Mobile yesterday, didn't we, John, for the South Asian region. Now today, we're finally having groups A, B, C, and D mix up. Obviously, we had groups A's and B in day 1, groups C and D day 2, and now we're going to see groups A and C battle it out today in the South Asian region.
Yeah, a couple of good teams to come on board. We'll be taking a look at those in just a moment, but it's going to be, as you say, exciting to see how that crossover is going to happen. It's like it's like a superhero crossover event.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Team Orange Rock yesterday top the leaderboard today with a total of 94 points, I believe, which was crazy. I think they hit about 48 or 49 kill points total, which is insane. Yeah. They did have a lot of circle luck awarded to them yesterday, which kind of made things a little bit easier for them. Xspark obviously a little bit behind, but it is Entity Gaming who is still in second place.
Yeah, they're doing very, very well. Unfortunately, no Team Soul today. They'll be playing tomorrow.
Nope.
They are over in Group D, so we'll see them coming back. But there's plenty of other great teams to be looking out for. In particular, we looked at Group A, who's going to be got quite a lot of power in them. Of course, 2 of the ex-Team Soul members making up Xspark, along with a couple of recruits that they've brought on board. Some really strong players there. So maybe if you're a Soul fan last season, you might be rooting for Xspark this time around.
Look at this, boys. We've barely even started the broadcast. We're already in match number 1 between A and C. Getting the playing path for you very, very shortly. We're excited for some PUBG Mobile today. You've got 4 more fat matches coming at you after this one, so it's going to be a grand old day, a little bit of PUBG Mobile. Already, we have our playing path going all the way from Mill to Power up to the northwestern side towards Zaki, providing a lot of coverage of the map here, John.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty inaccessible to try and go over to Ferry Pier, to try maybe even go all the way to Primorsk, but Sosnovka military base, accessible here. Early drops can get you there. Plenty of time to spare. Yasnaya, Rosok, Pachinki, of course, always accessible. But Georgia Pole, actually more accessible than you might think. Even though it's a late on the drop, the rotation speeds that you can get from the vehicles that you can find there, really, really nice. Only 1 team dropping Novo. That's going to be MSX, and Xspark actually looking to split across the bridge by the looks of it as well.
Indeed. Now we've got our first circle. Northwesterly towards Severny and Zaki. Obviously, Gatka still in there. Everest's going to be a point of contestation, most likely. A team who gets there first sets up thereafter. They have Luke, who's feeling pretty good about themselves. MegaX already taking a fight with Team KO. We've had a bit of a rough start to the region as well as throughout the tournament. I believe they're sitting pretty far towards the bottom of the leaderboard.
That's probably one of the earliest kills we've seen. It was before the 2-minute mark, as you say. But that's over in Yasnaya. The circle popping northwest will drive the teams from Sosnovka military base across the bridge, but both of them can rotate around west and try and head up that way. In Lipovka as well, that's a relatively easy rotation, but we saw this last time around. We saw this yesterday in the South Asia region. The circle went northwest and ended actually on the river in a really, really tricky spot. And that is potential to happen again. Highly unlikely, but we could see it once more.
We might see it once again, yeah, indeed. Erangel been our pretty much Classico map of the region so far. I've seen it twice per day. Perhaps we have Vikendi with us today, but we'll find out for you that very, very shortly. But for the time being, we are here on Erangel. Obviously, we're just checking out what's going on over here in Yasnaya. Obviously, MegaX already picked up that first kill. They've done pretty well so far. Fairly consistent teams. Don't seem to be going out too early in most of their games. Team KO, on the other hand, they're really taking a tussle with some of one of the better teams in the tournament so far as we come through group stages here, John.
Have to wait and see what they're going. Xspark have made that rotation all the way to the actual military base itself. They'll get free military loot there and have plenty of time to do so.
They've done that quite often, haven't they? Actually.
Yeah, it was. It's quite common to see them sort of go for that sort of situation. Nice to see that they are making those calls as well. They would have seen the team land Nova. They would have seen another team land near Milta, so they can decide, okay, you know what? We haven't seen anyone go for that military base. It should be free. Let's grab some vehicles. Let's get out of there. And with those vehicles as well, they'll be able to rotate faster along the west coast.
Yeah, and that's the really big thing I was about to say, is that the west coast is going to be fairly clear, as the plane path didn't really afford much opportunity to go down to that quarry and that ferry pier and Primorsk, like you were saying at the beginning, which means this bridge is not occupied. So if Team Xspark can get very much looted quickly, they can make a relatively safe escape, which usually is not seen from military base, right?
Yeah, it's rare that it's an easy exit from military. If these teams rotate west towards the bottom side of the circle, if you've got like Hype or ETG.Brawlers who want to move that way, it might cause a little bit of problem for them to exit on the western bridge, but the eastern bridge is opening up as well, and not both of them are going to be covered, so there is going to be actually a relatively easy exit route, not to mention boats are going to be available as well if they choose to go for them.
Yeah, nice and easy. Anyway, we're looking up on this top side now. Georgia Paul, 3 teams currently occupying it, staying fairly far away from each other. Obviously, up in Severny, we got a MegaX up there just chilling. Team RG also a little bit split though. They have one player just above Rozok. But most teams just centering around this Rozok area, trying to move around, see what they can take. RIP heading up to Everest now as well, John.
What I'm quite interested by is the fact that Nepali Ho have gone to Stalba. They've actually gone atop the hill, atop the mountain, and raided the ruins to see what they can get. Not quite all the way over to Kameshki, but I believe Mafia Ninja might have started up there and rotated a little bit further down. But in general, all of these teams are going to be pretty happy. Only one kill happening so far, and that was in the Yasnaya initial drop. A little bit unfortunate for the teams there, but everybody else should be just fine. It's like Paratosh has taken a little bit of damage, but in military, you're going to find plenty of armor, you're going to find plenty of meds, and that will go lickety-split.
Absolutely. Probably just from him taking a bit of a dangerous jump off a building, to be honest with you. But like you say, you would get some painkillers, get some boosters, get that right as rain. Not sure why energy drinks do heal you. Tends to put me in a worse position most of the time after any drink. I tend to just crash about 4 hours later.
Do you think?
Yeah,
well,
most of the time.
Well, that's good because the games don't last that long.
Yeah, you just need that energy for that. Like 20 to 30 minutes, blast it through, then you can have a sleepy afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all you want to see, really. That's all you need to see, certainly. But they're going to be juiced on up and running on over, hopefully, to see what they can go and get done. SynerGE over on the east landed Lipovka. Have to make that rotation. MegaX have claimed essentially the whole of Yasnaya now, despite being only 3, as I believe it was Team KO, who was there before, have rotated out and actually gone to the northern side of the river. We're seeing more teams today rotate north on this circle than we saw yesterday, probably due to the way the plane path fell. More teams will have headed to Yasnaya, a couple more teams out on the east as well. And so now they've made that rotation around the top of the lake, around the top of Lipovka, to try and find themselves a little bit of ground to work with.
Yeah, you just saw that on your screen there, a bit of an overview of the map, making sure you guys know exactly what's going on and keeping you updated. As you see, a bit of a cluster towards it's basically the middle of the map. There's like a line of teams up and down, mainly just hanging around the areas where there is a bridge available to you to make your way across that river. And that river is really just splitting all the teams in half, because they've always got to bear in mind that at some point they may have to make the decision to cross the river, and teams will be waiting for that, because that's exactly what Orange Rock did the other day, and how they got a lot of kills on board on Erangel. I believe it was the first match of the day yesterday, where they just chilled up on top of a tower and then just shot down on teams as they tried to rotate into the circle. But really, most interestingly, we still really only have 3 teams outside the circle. Most other teams have situated themselves inside that right now. You're looking at Team Xspark in the bottom, MSX also not quite made their way up, and SynerGE just seem to be making a long rotation clockwise towards Milta and Farm to basically insert themselves into the circle towards that southern side.
Everyone can afford a little bit more time to leave over on this circle. It's a little bit easier to rotate through, even taking a little bit of a hit, especially if you're on that military island. You can sustain with meds that you will have picked up. Should be pretty good. But at the moment, there's a little bit of a hotspot north of Pubg, where in the area that I like to call Headshot Valley, where we're looking at the moment. Look at the amount of open ground there, right? If you try and cross it on foot, you're pretty much doomed to just get picked off by someone with a decent sniper with a DMR or something like that. You need vehicles to rotate across, and you need to have that strong pathing and scouting at your disposal if you want to try and vie for this area. There's a lot of defilés that you can see at the moment, Hyper occupying some of them, but there's so many more that you can play around, and there's a lot of hills that you can sort of hide on. So there's a lot of open ground combined with a lot of cover, and it creates this perfect storm where teams can sort of fight you at range, and if you put a foot wrong, you will just get shut down. And look at this. They're trying to do exactly that on a rotation.
Yeah, because you can just dip in and out of here and provide so many really tricky angles for teams to basically coordinate around, because it's not just a case of, oh dear, that's a bit of a crash. I flipped it over. He's all good and well now, though. But it does create a bit of an issue where if you're shooting from a building using that third-person advantage, you generally know where that person is going to pop the head out. It's one of the windows or on the veranda. But here's just, there's so much just crazy ground that you can get out of. But like you said, John, taking this position early is a smart thing to do. It's not something you can do later on because, like you say, running across that field to get to it, you are very much open without a vehicle.
The circle shifts again over towards the west. Georgia Pole still in Everest as well. Potential finishing locations sort of starting to isolate themselves. Ruins is in. The Gatka fields are going to be pretty tricky. Xspark and MSX all now have started to move on over as these rotations do come through between the compounds, between school and between Pachinki. People trying to find their footing. 8-bit, we praised them for their rotational play last time, but they were a little bit indecisive. They were victims of this previous circle that happened as it zoned on in, because we are still in the case that we could find the same finishing circle as we saw yesterday.
Which is a funny thing.
That would give them some pretty horrible flashbacks to the events of yesterday.
Oh no, yeah. I think that was a pretty interesting rotation from 8-bit Prince there. Obviously, a bit like Indiana Jones going between a tunnel as all the arrows start firing at you from either side. ETG.Brawlers and Blind also giving a little bit of a hard work. ETG.Brawlers decided to actually follow 8-bit to their next rotation point. Obviously, Nova just on the side here will have eyes on, but quickly ETG.Brawlers realize we'll probably dip out. We have the information where they want to be going. We can just give a wide berth to them.
See if they are able to get away scot-free, and it seems like everyone's going to be okay for now. People starting to find those buildings, but over towards the lake near Yasnaya on the short bridge, there's a little bit of a scuffle going on. Nepali Ho taking on SynerGE. See what they can get done, and a couple of knocks potentially coming through.
Nepali were just waiting in this position for a team to rotate through. I believe they do get a bit of a knock there. Disconnect back up again. Look at that. Schreider is down. Servi and Vashu took a big old beating as well. The vehicle is smoking, so SynerGE, Nepali actually really give it to them, and looks like they are now going to try and crash the compound, but already taken a few shots from the remaining members from SGE.
They have sort of disengaged here. They do need to start to move towards this next circle. It is pushing in. It's only phase 2, so they can afford a little bit of time, but Alpha under pressure as well. The rotations from Xspark and MSX now starting to coalesce. Xspark taking control of Mount Everest over on the western side of the circle, just to the east of Hospital in South George.
It's a long rotation, to be fair.
It is quite a long rotation, but it's quite a direct one. There wasn't too many
really
players
safe as well.
in their way, which makes it pretty smart. Of course, the plane being so heavily northeast, there was really no one on the west coast, so they had a pretty open rotation to get there. And now early arrivals at Everest make them a really strong contender here. MSX, a little bit slower. They're just on the outskirts of the circle, having to go for a clockwise rotation and maybe even trying to vie for Everest themselves if they can find that entry path.
Yeah, they do have to move through Gatka and the fields that are there, so they will be quite open. People will have eyes on, especially Xspark with that massive high ground position, which will give them basically eagle eye vision on all the teams that surround them. Destoryer still just by Hospital. They rotated down from Georgia Pole there. This is where we see it happening time and time again with the South Asian region, as they make it all the way to around about phase 2 and 3 before teams start to crunch on each other, because the rotations are just so smart from South Asia, really impressive. I think Xspark has probably impressed me the most when it comes to rotations, but when it comes to smart rotations at least, ones that make the most sense logically. MSX still currently on that southern side, and it feels like they are probably just going to play the circle, but really unfortunate shift for them. Shifts all the way from Gatka up to shooting range. That is an unfortunate shift. So all these teams now, they have to make the decision to cross. There is only a couple of tiny little bridges unless you want to move through Rozhok over that small island in the middle.
I'll tell you the main spot that I'm going to be looking at is Xspark. Are they going to rotate away early? It looks like they are, but what they could have potentially done is gone into the circles in the foothills of Everest and controlled both of those bridges at range and tried to go for it. An early crossing, though, not necessarily the worst idea. We can see 3 teams currently mounting up. Make that 4 as everyone's trying to move to the north. But Pain, they have the buildings over towards the northern shore, which is where everyone's going to be looking for ground. There are 3 teams currently north, and there's going to be more very, very shortly.
Yeah, as we head over to the western side here, Zaki actually has quite a few hills up there that you can take advantage of, which are still in the circle. Brawlers, though, do take down Sky, and he is flushed out by the ETG.Brawlers, just as he makes the way past, so they'll be losing a member for RIP, going to be affecting them slightly as they come into these final circles now. Obviously, shooting range, a lot of high ground are surrounding, and I think a lot of teams will want to take that quickly. Team Destroyer is, in fact, going to move over the left-hand side of the map here, back through Georgia Pole to take that high ground position. Really, really, I'm loving that rotation. That's going to give them a lot of options as they go through. Currently, RIP giving the work onto Nepali, despite losing a member there. RIP have been really suffering quite a bit in the fields. ETG.Brawlers will have eyes on shortly too.
A long western rotation for MSX, actually, going over the large bridge in Georgia Pole. They will be following up on the Destroyer, who are already on that northern shore. The rotations around there pretty smart. Everyone is going to be going across these smaller bridges, so finding any sort of ground that you can. Really, really nice to see. A lot of fights now, though, popping off near the shorelines across those bridges that are essentially the choke points for so many of these teams. Crossing in the water, crossing as a swimmer is so dangerous in this situation.
Yeah, this is where really what's going to happen is teams are going to start to make mistakes, because this is forcing difficult rotations for teams, and when teams start to make mistakes, that's when people can start to capitalize. Currently, Tempest is doing a good job to hold this bank side, though, versus the ETG.Brawlers has actually forced them quite far back. Kar98K in hand too. Does see Dark. Will Dark continue to peek that window? I don't think he really wants to do that versus Tempest, though.
It might be a little bit too much to handle, unfortunately. All these teams, though, they managed to settle themselves just a little bit. Everybody now is actually in the next zone. And they have been able to get there pretty unscathed. Only 3 players have died so far. Nepali Ho, I believe, have lost 2 of them. And it was MegaX earlier on in Yasnaya who lost the 3rd. So these rotations have gone relatively unmolested and unchallenged. Yeah. The next shift, though, is super huge. Northeast, and there's 5 teams currently in it. The rest of them will have to try and get the ground. But I'm looking at MegaStars and also SynerGE on the western flankers in those vulnerable spots where everybody's going to be looking to push.
Indeed, John. We're going to see Retribution on the top right-hand side. Xspark currently making really, really strong rotations there. They basically banked on the circle going off to this eastern side, and it's paid off in a big way. They do have Blind right next to them currently. Obviously, like you say, John, a lot of teams now have to cross the bridge, because what we saw in the beginning was many, many teams on that southern side. So as they come in to basically a lot of open ground, really the only high ground position is on the northern side of the circle, where Team Xspark are currently going to, but they will meet the Destroyers very shortly.
Everyone's crossing now. Hype have opted to go for one of the swimmers. It's a turtle. Hopefully there's not too much plastic pollution in that river.
Use your straws, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Paper straws, metal straws as well. See what you can get done. But the hillside here, really a nice location for these 2 teams. The next circle, though, might push them away from it. And again, this is another similar situation to Headshot Valley, just south of the river. There's a lot of defilades, but there's a lot of open ground as well. When you mix those 2 together, it makes those rotations so important to get right.
If you can make it past here quite quickly, John, it makes things a lot easier. So really, MegaX were able to get back past quite easily, but now it's Pain who have decided to rock up on the hillside. What they don't realize is there's actually 2 teams occupying here. It's not just the ones. It's going to be very hard to take it away from them, almost working in tandem with each other right now.
Yeah, it is pretty tricky, but there's still a lot of teams all starting to crunch together, and I'm surprised no one's really taken too much of a fight. All 16 teams remaining into Phase 4 is pretty deadly, and I'm imagining the neighbors aren't going to be too happy with each other as these kills, these knocks start to come through.
Yeah, MegaStars as well as SynerGE both really giving it to the poor Pain boys who have made their way onto the hill. And like I said, there's just a little bit of an agreement between MegaStars and also SynerGE because Pain has got themselves right in between the both of them.
It's a crossfire. It's not where you want to find yourself. It's like there's another kill going over against the Pain squad. One player left standing for them will be able to get the res, but in the meantime, Hype is taking heavy casualties. A couple of explosions going their way, and that's not going to make them happy bunnies, certainly not. You're going to have to burrow away and see if they can heal up.
Good thing for Pain is that both MegaStars and also SynerGE are wary of each other, so neither team wants to peek this hillside too much. You see Vex already taking fire from SynerGE on the other side. RIP, nades come through. The dude now taking down MegaX, who made a decent rotation. Pain immediately attempting to get away. RIP though, despite having a little bit of an early game casualty, are still putting the work on the map here.
Xspark have a decent position at the moment on the northern flank. There's a couple of teams around them, but they're spread out nicely. They're in fire pairs, which means they can cover each other and potentially go in for those off angles should they get pushed upon. The next circle closing and the shift will be super, super important. Pain actually extricating themselves, as you say, from this fight. They will be rotating down south, but they're going to be going behind a lot of other teams. Rip Official might just be able to spot it out, and there we go.
Look at this.
First team eliminated. It's Pain to go down.
RIP went out first, Pain next, so now we have 14 teams remaining. But a crazy amount of teams on this hillside here, John. And you can see that everyone's playing round the circle because they were just very unsure where this next circle is going to go. It has now popped on the eastern side, so Retribution on the top side will be feeling pretty happy about that one. They still have hill ground advantage, now firing down on 8-bit. But it's really up to all the teams on this western side, which are huge. We just saw them all on the hillside. They have to rotate down the hill. So it's really a big decision of who moves first.
Oh,
and
no.
already in comes the fight from ETG.Brawlers, taking down SynerGE.
They're getting a couple of shots sent back their way, and Dark gets confirmed. ETG.Brawlers lose a player, but there's 2 down for SynerGE. The Sharks are circling. 3 players from ETG.Brawlers looking to avenge their fallen comrades. Marj Alpha tries to find some cover behind the rock, but I think he might just be spotted. No, that's MSX actually getting shot upon. The dude, the last now standing. The spray is there for Encore, but he isn't going to find one more just yet.
Currently just laying the grass. Smart choice here would be probably to revive the teammate, but the dude looking to confirm right now. Both players in the circle. This is not looking good. Blind also taking a lot of damage in the distance over there.
I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the zone. Even if he gets the res, the heal, I don't think will be fast enough, unfortunately for him. Same could be said for the Destroyer. They've got a team down at the moment, a teammate down, and everybody's starting to really, really feel the hurt as people are starting to crunch into the same locations, and 35 players now as we've dropped so many in the last 30 seconds.
Team Xspark pulled the trigger on that rotation so early, so they're only really the ones who didn't take much heat from that rotation going over the top-hand side towards the east. They are now firing upon MXX, the dude, as well as MegaStars, so this is a very difficult rotation for them. Nepali still going, Mafia Ninja putting in the work.
Everyone's now finding their feet. They're being pushed in, and I'm imagining we're going to see about 3 or 4 more teams drop as courses. There's very, very low player counts here for the number of teams alive. 34 only remaining. With 11 teams now as 1 drop. We're going to see a few more go down, I imagine, in the next couple of seconds.
A lot of teams missing some key limbs. Nepali now going out in 12. Unfortunate, will only be awarded that 1 point. We'd see them get on the kill feed quite often, so might have some kill feed to buff that a little bit. MSX, nice spray there from Mus from Retribution. Doesn't quite take him down. Now the fire starts to come back at him.
He's going to find some cover, though. Ignite not quite able to land it all. Hitman is down the hill. Godkill has an off angle as well. They have good control over this side of the mountain. Xspark taking a fight over in the northwest as well. They're trying to zone away both MegaX and Blind, the remaining players for those 2 squads. 8-bits, they have a very central position. They've got 2 loot crates right on top of them as well.
Which is going to provide not only amazing loot, but great cover too. Blind currently doing very, very well. Stark contrast from what we saw yesterday when they were having a little bit of difficulty. Obviously, the players a little bit inexperienced, but now they've got a bit of that experience under the belt. Coming into the next day, they're feeling much better about themselves. Again, the circle shifts, but this time in the favor of Team Xspark. They will hold on to that on the high ground. Blind currently feeling pretty good about it as well.
Oh no. Rip Official taking heavy casualties. It's just Naruto. Needs to heal on up. Both of his teammates are down. Don't think he can reach his teammate from there through the car. Has to drop another smoke and see if he can reposition himself. But he's got cannons to the left of him, cannons to the right of him. Not quite able to reach it yet again.
Oh no, the hand just not long enough to squeeze itself past the tree. Must still going strong on Retribution. Nade going to come out, hopefully to provide a little bit of cover for himself so he can make this res.
8-Bit should be pretty happy with their spot as well. They have just taken it down as they are getting rolled up on, but they have those 2 crates which are hard cover, very hard to come by in the next zone as Retribution starting to roll up on them, seeing what they can get done. But Xspark, the powerhouses right now.
Only team with 4 members remaining here. Retribution, all 3 members on the floor. Very, very difficult for them indeed. MegaStars just trying to crawl in. There's Naruto going down. Must have desperately tried to put his hand a little bit too far forward and had the fingers just absolutely ripped apart. Retribution are a pretty tough spot. So many teams around them. Most likely the next team to go down here. MegaStars, although they have a nice position down here as they come up the hillside, they are still having a bad time because they're not quite in the circle as of yet, John.
8-Bit with a double kill on the nades, and they're going to be able to, I believe, wipe Retribution out from their smoke bunker. Nicely done there. Beautiful performances coming in. 3 kills now on the board for 8-Bit. And they've got a lot of power moving forwards as well. As I said before, they've got a decent spot. They're going to be able to take a couple of knocks as well as Don goes down through the smoke.
Yeah, look at this little bit of cover they've created here in that triangle formation on the rock as well as the car. So this can provide them a lot of cover coming into the late game now. Team Xspark, really the only people they have to contend with is MSX coming down from the hillside. Ash going to try and get the spray in, see if he can contact a little bit of that aim assist on them. Doesn't quite find them though.
I'll be interested to see how many kills Xspark have racked up already. Only 15 players are now left alive, 6 teams still in the running. 8-Bit, they have a central position. Blind still in it with a snake. That's Nick, who we should be looking out for from them. 2 players for most of these squads. 3 players for 8-Bit and Maximus X. And Xspark, of course, sat atop the circle. The next shift will be brutal. We'll see who's going to get caught out by it.
Yeah, Team Xspark banking on it going northern side, but it goes
dead
center on top of both the loot crates, John.
I said dead centi. There we go.
Did I?
No, I did.
Oh, I see.
I was just
dead
like,
centi.
oh, what have I said? But there we go. There we go. Xspark finding a couple more kills. They're going to look to take down the troops of Maximus X as they do get a couple of knocks and seeing what more they can get done. The vehicles are mounting up. They can push along this hillside and use some of those smokes to try and get a better spot.
Yeah, whoever can take that position, John, is going to be feeling very, very good about themselves. 8-Bit currently the best position to do it, but Scout straight onto MSX there again. A waste, now putting the work. Really, Team Xspark been quite quiet, been focused much more on the rotations, but now they are starting to blast out the bullets. Nick just trying to crawl his way in there, but it does feel like Team Xspark know there is a player behind them.
Nick just going down there. Scout did spot him. And now the push comes through. Will they be able to dismount 8-Bit? It's going to be a tricky run. It's very flat ground, not a lot of utility to be working around. Good
thing for Team Xspark right now is that for MegaStars as well as Team RG, they have to deal with each other, where Xspark, they are very happy just by sitting by themselves. They have nothing to worry about behind them, so they can just slowly comb over the ground ahead of them. Obviously, you can see Scout there getting right on top of the plane. Waste moving forward, setting up that cover. Obviously, just trying to set themselves up for success in this late game.
They do have that spot now. 3 of them are in the circle. Scout is on the sidelines, on the top of the plane wing, just trying to get an overlook, trying to get an angle on anyone that they can spot. Reckoning are still in it. That's Team RG. That's Don. Remember, left alive for him. Scout goes down near the plane wing. Not too sure they're going to be able to fall back to fold him back into the rest of the troops, but he might get a little bit of info to work with.
Yeah, and info is really, really important for them, especially when there's so many teams ahead of them. 2 teams there, both with the knife in hand. You got MegaStars and Team RG ready to be a couple of rogues to give it to 8-Bit when they do finally make their push. Ash very far forward. There goes Team RG.
He goes down to the vehicle.
That's very surprising.
The vehicle blows up, and I thought they'd already taken it down, but apparently not. Team RG, they're fragging out on 8-Bit though. Only 1 player left alive, and 8-Bit getting dismounted.
Finally, Ted does take down that rogue player from Team RG. This will give a little bit of time for Team Xspark to recuperate. Karatosh moving forward to pick up a waste. Very important they have the members as they go against this enemy team. Ash has absolutely no hope of being get up here.
All the circles moving towards Xspark as well on the next shift. It is heavily northern. It's difficult to see, but I've got a little map up here. I can tell you it's going to move their way. Ash going down, and 8-Bit's reign of terror seems to be coming to a close. Team Xspark now, the arbiters of death.
They have a really good position. Sure, the vehicle might have proved a little bit of disadvantage earlier, but now it's really good for them, providing them so much cover.
Oh, look at that.
Lovely nade over the top, goes onto Avi. That was basically, the spray was right on top of him. Karatosh almost got them. MegaStars, though, looking really worse for wear now. Only one player is the final boss of the game. Ronak moving forward, just jumping around, trying to bait out the shots from final boss. Out they come right now. Ronak will go down. Final boss still going. Looking for the flush onto him. Scout coming around the side. Will they be able to finish it?
Yeah.
Yes, they will. Xspark, the first winners of match 1 today.
Able to pick up a total of, I think that's 12 kills coming in for them. A little bit of quick, yeah, 12 kills for a chicken dinner. Fantastic showing, but MegaStars as well. They were able to pick up 10 in a second place. A really, really good spot. 8-Bit with some decent rotations, with some decent holds all the way to the end up in 3rd place and have a great record to boot.
Yeah, a really, really good game overall there for Xspark, but we can't discount, obviously, MegaStars and 8-Bit, both playing in some really tough positions there. 8-Bit permanently in the middle, surrounded by all sides by many other members of teams, and obviously MegaStars, they had a tough work their way into that last circle, just the 2 members alive, and they still outlived 8-Bit in the end, so really, really good job for them, really good job to final boss. But Xspark, they knew exactly what to do, did not play that last bit passive. They knew there was only one player alive for MegaStars there, so they just move in. One player's on the left flank, one player on the right. As soon as the shots come out, they know exactly where he is. So really, Ronak is just a bait there at the end of the day.
Xspark, the marathon runners of this game, they dropped over towards the eastern bridge, actually, of Military Island and rotated all the way through Sosnovka Military Base. They went all the way up the west coast, all the way up to the north of the map, and had such a long journey. But in the end, those rotations paid off, and they got back themselves quite a few points here. They're going to be trying to take down Orange Rock, it seems. Yeah,
really, really cool playing path, actually, to start the game off, especially for Xspark, which basically cleared the western side. Really cleared off that western side for them, didn't it, John, which allowed them to just absolutely move all the way up round and then move themselves into the circle fairly safely and acquire all that intel in the meantime, because obviously they have the intel they gathered from Everest, and then they move around the hillside by shooting range and then slowly back into the circle. So you think that basically Xspark pretty much did every single thing right there for themselves.
Yeah, they were consistently on the ball, consistently finding the right openings and getting what they needed to get done. It was really good to see a team made up of some of the dominant players from the previous Seoul squad moving in and coming into their own. Yesterday they had a couple of falters, but looks like today is a new day. They're in their stride, and hopefully they'll be able to continue for it.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to have a short falter of ourselves. We're going to go to a quick break very, very soon and find out exactly what happens in match 2. But so far, Team Xspark really showed themselves up as probably the best players in this Group A and C. We'll see if anyone else can step to them in the next 3 games. But until then, we will catch you very soon. Just see them pass. They have rocked up. It's all 4 members. Drops out. Will he find one? Yes, he does. There goes the knock. He's got... You know, it's just all 3 of them. Oh, VLT right in the corner. Assassin does go down. But already, Orange Rock taking some shots from the sidelines.
They're able to get it done. Prince will be there. We'll spot this one out. Goes up for the spray.
Excellent spray there, John.
Wins out the trade. Nicely done. And actually, Ted fires over onto Orange Rock. 8-Bit.
To move about, make sure to get a better position.
Oh dear.
Oh god.
My goodness me.
Drive by. Thank you. Super useful to create 2 angles, and they are looking to do so right now. Looks like Ignite's going to go for the res instead. In a very obvious position. Zombie just comes around the corner and goes for that shot. It's going to be nice and easy. But it is Visor from the side. That's the double angle I was talking about. And that is MSX out. Can't stay there. Look.
You better
do... Got to what?
get in. No, okay, fair enough. It looks like he is gonna.
He's
pretty
alive
low, but
still.
Brutal Man goes down, finally taken out by the Zova. In comes
Oh
the spray,
my
Mr.
Lord.
Yozo.
PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. Anytime, anywhere. There is a better choice. PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. A quick game for those short breaks. There is a better choice. PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. Endless respawn, endless fun. There is a better choice.
Hi there, welcome back to the show. You're watching the South Asian region for the PMCO 2019. Vivo is our title sponsor for the day. And if you're ready to beat out anyone on the battleground, you need uninterrupted gaming with the fully loaded Vivo Z1X.
Play PUBG Mobile with a 22.5 watt Vivo flash charge, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 712, a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, and brings you the more immersive experience.
And if you want those glorious chicken dinners, you've got to get your hands on one.
Absolutely.
Team Xspark just got their hands on a glorious chicken dinner themselves, though. Really well played to them there on Erangel. But you know, we have a new map ahead of us. We didn't see it in day 1 and day 2, but we've got Vikendi coming at you right now. We won't be seeing SynerGE today. We'll be going straight back to Erangel for that last game. We've got Miramar coming in third.
It's going to be a great day of games as well. Vikendi, a very different style of map, heavily compound based. Now we saw last season the India region be very focused on compounds in general. Vikendi was a map where the rotations were cleanest, so I'm imagining that power is going to be translated over. We've seen a lot of adaptation from the region in general to play a little bit more out on the terrain-based play, so they have now got that skill set as well coming in across the board, as we saw in that previous game. They're a little bit more used to that, but when they can go back to those basics, when they can go back to those compound styles, then it's going to be great. What we're also going to see is a little bit more SMG play, right?
Indeed.
Micro Uzis abound. We're going to see the Vectors starting to come out, potentially the UMPs, but in general, you want the high rate of fire that the other two offer. And with the compound style of play, you want close range, and at that range, 9mm is king. Getting the fire down is all about what everything's about.
Indeed, if you never want to miss one of those amazing SMG plays that we're about to see, definitely subscribe to the YouTube PUBG Mobile Esports channel. Smash that like button too. And if you also want to play some PUBG Mobile, get one of those SMGs in your hand, you can download the game on the Google Play App Store as well as the iOS App Store as well.
Yeah, if you want to end up here one day playing with the big dogs, then you can get your hands on it and have a go. See if you've got what it takes.
Yeah, everyone's got to be a puppy at some point, guys.
I was never a puppy. I came out.
You were just like immediately.
I was born, and instantly I was a pro at the claw grip. 4 fingers, ready to go.
8 fingers all at once. Yeah,
you just transcend and become a deity.
Anyway, here we have our scores for that last game. Obviously, Xspark there with 12 points. MegaStars coming in second with 24, with a whopping 10 kills to boot as well. And there is Reckoning in third, despite going out in fourth.
Yeah, you got Rip Official as well with 8 kills, 11 points for them, so a nice turn up. Able to get a nice score on the cards. Of course, in general, what you want to be seeing is around, basically more than 10 points. Classifies it as a good game, certainly at this stage of the tournament, right? Because you're just trying to escape what I'm going to call the red zone, right? The bottom 16 teams that
you think you escape the red zone in esports?
Exactly.
Never.
Yeah, never escape the red zone. But the bottom 16 teams will get bumped at the end of the bottom 8 teams will get bumped at the end of the group stages. The next 8 will get bumped in the semi-finals as well, to give us the top 16 in the end for those for the regional finals. As we move on forward through the region.
Have our overall standings right here, right now, and you can just see how massive of a day Orange Rock had yesterday. Xspark are only 2 points ahead of them, despite already having one match more than they did yesterday. They have the 2 chicken dinners as well, so we've got 2 chicken dinners for both our teams in that number 1 and 2 spot.
MegaStars climbing up the ranks as well as Rip Official, so nicely done for them. Blind starting to move up as well into that 16th spot, but remember, of course, a lot of these teams won't have all of the games played, so some of them will have 5, some of them will have 4. There's a chicken dinner pretty far down the table. This is the red zone. This is the red zone page, right? And there is a couple of teams that have 5 maps already on there, so they are really at risk. But take a look at the kills leaderboard.
Ronak, 14 kills. Existence over there with 14 as well. Jonathan with the 12. We saw how aggressive that guy can be. But look, 3 players from Orange Rock all on the kills leaderboard. Existence in first, 4th for Mavi, and Sandhu with the number 5 spot.
Yeah, very nice to see. Of course, Orange Rock still only played 4 maps, so the fact that 3 of them are still on the top 5, that is pretty miraculous.
It's pretty astounding, to be honest with you. So very happy to see for Orange Rock. They're going to be watching, definitely at home, feeling pretty chuffed about themselves whilst they gather some more data on these teams. So hello to you guys as well. We know you're watching. We know you're watching.
Well, to be fair, what we did see yesterday was some really good circles for Orange Rock. They had essentially the perfect game twice in a row when it came to that circle luck. So they capitalized on it beautifully. consistency, we'll have to wait and see if they're able to repeat that performance. I have every confidence that they will do, but it is a question of maintaining that mental fortitude, that staying a little bit humble potentially, you know, making sure that you aren't sort of getting a little bit big for your boots. Like, we won 2 games in a row with like 50 million kills
exactly.
on each one. So, you know, we're the big names on campus now. No, you need to play it cool and make sure that you look at where you potentially could have played even better, because if you don't wipe the entire lobby and win the game, then you can always improve.
There's improvement. All right, John says you need to kill all 60 other players. There's no if or buts there.
If you aren't getting 80 points a game, what's even the point?
What's the point? What's the point? One thing that's quite interesting about Vikendi for us as we head into it is that what we've seen so far from the South Asian region, excellent rotations all around. Now that we've seen both A and B and C, D groups, we know all these teams, they are fairly good. Even the teams towards the bottom are pretty good at the rotations in general. Now we have so many compounds available to you on Vikendi, it becomes quite difficult to traverse via vehicle as well, because some of the ground is a little bit iffy. But what I'm expecting to see around about 63, 64 players alive as we come into phase 2 and 3, and potentially even phase 4, because there's so much security that's provided by playing in these buildings because of the third-person perspective. You're able to just hold in the corner, watch those windows and walls, and then the firefights are going to come into effect much, much later on.
Yeah, I mean, what you'll see probably around to about that phase, sure. After that, what we're more than likely going to see is a lot of scouting play coming on, which does actually whittle down the numbers of players relatively significantly, as you see teams trying to figure out which compounds are occupied, which compounds aren't, because you're essentially trying to link compounds on your rotations at that stage. So if you're sending a player out, if someone's there, sometimes they are going to go down, right? So we're going to see a lot of teams start to go down to 2 players once we hit phase 4, phase 5.
Sometimes a necessary sacrifice, though. You have to send someone
it's
forward.
It's better to lose one than all 4.
Absolutely. So you send someone forward, obviously get a bit of that intel provided for you. I could never do that myself. I go forward, I just get shot, and I'm like, where did they get shot from? So these players, they just know. They just know.
Well, you know, they've got a little bit of game sense, and apparently able to apply it. I'm not trying to say anything.
Oh,
you can read into it what you will,
right,
but you know,
enough.
I'm not taking any responsibility for your own inferences.
So here we are on Vikendi once again. This is definitely an interesting map to say the least. I think we watched a couple of scrims. Well, I was watching a couple of scrims, and a lot of people like surrounding the castle a lot of times, waiting to make the rotations through there, which I found fairly interesting. Perhaps we'll see something different. Very easily plane path available to us right now, which will be coming on your screens very, very shortly, down from that northern side all the way down to Milnar. What do you make of this, John?
A lot of actually very popular locations are going to be zoned away. I mean, you've got Goroka, Dobro Mesto as well. Pretty difficult to get to, even up to Port, and going on that way, it's going to be difficult. But you've still got quite a lot of opportunity to go to Cosmodrome, to go to Cement Factory, and all of those locations in the sort of southwestern quadrant of this map. So everybody should be able to find their place. Of course, this is the first time that these players will be playing on Vikendi. So we've seen them play Erangel before, we've seen them play Miramar before as well. So those 2 maps will be a little bit more familiar to them in this current tournament meta. But over on Vikendi, it's new. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new drop for everyone.
Yeah, so pretty much the only data that these teams have on each other is basically, well, who plays edge, who plays center, who's playing a bit more aggressive, who's playing pass. Whoa, okay. The Dino Park circle immediately popped very much
every time
southwesterly here. We always want to see the Dino Park. Dino Park is fun. That is where it's at. We haven't actually seen a proper Dino Park finish as of yet, though, have we, John?
No, I haven't seen one so far in PUBG Mobile.
It's a little maze in the middle, which is very fun to play
Every time
around.
the circle goes like this, it's baited me. So I don't trust it just yet, but I'm really happy to see that it's still available. Would be great fun to see people running around the maze, running around some of those big old dinos, and get a little bit of a paleontology on.
Look at this, MegaX, fully in white gear right now, trying to blend in with the snow. Basically a budget ghillie suit here. Pain currently have eyes on Team RG, Team KO over that side. Team KO taking some pretty aggressive landing spots, despite just last game basically losing a player almost immediately.
Yeah, they are not going to let that phase them, however. Teams are starting to land. You've got Blind over in Trevno, over on the northeastern side, just south of Peshkova as well. You've got MSX, who will need to make their rotation. A lot of teams over towards the south as well. Volnova occupied by MegaX. Nepali Ho just outside it to the east. Might look to go for it, but there's a little bit of a scuffle going on. And we see our first death already. ETG.Brawlers get a kill.
Yeah, with the UMP-45 no doubt as well. So you completely right, John. SMG is coming massively in handy. ETG.Brawlers, Frost will take that kill for him. Team RG, mainly just sticking on this southern side of the compound right now. Iban a little bit forward. I really like the position from Iban. It'll provide a lot of info to the team. Exactly what Pain are actually getting up to right now. Evoke pretty undergeared though, unfortunately. Take a look at the map. Blind still not making their way down. MSX already making that very much coastally rotation clockwise down towards NHN. And a big clump of teams going towards where Castle is located. Probably will be rotating through Villa.
A nice pick up there for Hype, although they are 3 to a vehicle, and looks like they're going to be going for 4 to a vehicle, which is not great. They have found themselves a second Darcy. Okay, I'm happy with that. It's early doors, so they are still just finding those vehicles and trying to get it done. So I'm okay with this. Normally, I do flame teams for trying to stack up in a car, but they are actually actively searching for those vehicles. So, you know, all is forgiven in this situation.
Yeah, they're good students of Sensei John Allen.
Absolutely. Well, Shifu John Allen.
Shifu. Nice, nice. Team Destroyers pretty happy on the southern coast down here. 8-bit also in the circle too. But Xspark, somehow they are magnetized towards that eastern side of the western side of the circle there. But they're very happy down there for the time being, just surrounding around Dino Park.
Blind still yet to make the rotation. These rotations actually from the north are pretty easy. The Frozen River offering a lot of crossing potential. As long as you have a vehicle, it's a lot of open ground, so it is tricky, but you can just razz it straight across and get to some decent cover if you choose the right crossing point. So getting over there shouldn't be too hard. The circle not quite yet starting to even think about closing, so we should just be fine to get on in. And actually, the density of these teams can be pretty high. With the style of play, with the compounds available, you'll see a lot of teams very, very close to each other, but not able to take each other down. So what I'm expecting is that a lot of helmets are going to get popped off by a couple of sniper shots, a lot of damage done that way, but not actually that many kills.
Yeah, I think that probably the safest rotation for a lot of these teams right now is to move through Dobro Mesto, move down towards the coast side. That would probably be the smartest play for a lot of these teams right now. It'd be very, very safe, but you'd have to pass over by Zabaya, Kitchas as well. So it's a bit of a risky rotation for yourself because you have to spend a lot of time potentially out in the blue before you come in. By that time, people will be watching for teams emerging from that blue side.
This is a sort of standard standoff you'll see over on Vikendi. You've got Rip, you've got SynerGE, just over the way. They may know that each other are there, they may not, but they're going to be there again. A similar thing with Team KO and Xspark. I imagine that the information is there for both of these squads. Certainly if they mount up on the vehicle, they'll know, but not quite able to find the shots. And crashing in is just overly dangerous, especially when there's 16 teams still remaining. You lose so much for just losing out on one of those fights.
Yeah, and the terrain is so vicious on Vikendi as well. It's very hard to crash anywhere because you're more than likely going to hit a bump or a weird part of the compound where your vehicle just goes off into space and you become a team part of NASA instead of playing PUBG Mobile, and you really, really don't want that whatsoever. You want to continue playing PMCO. That's what you signed up for, at least.
Yeah. Not to the moon. Don't want to be going there. Not quite yet, anyway. That'd be cool, having a moon map.
That would be
a little bit of low gravity.
Yeah, it would be cool, John. I don't know.
It would be entirely terrain-based. Maybe it's set in the future.
Potentially.
Yeah, there we go, where there's a couple of...
everyone in spacesuits.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. No, because it would be inside like a... Oh, that would be... instead of the blue, it would be the air. Oh, man, and then you'd suffocate outside of... That would be really cool. I'm going to get on the phone to play around.
Yeah, nice. Get on the phone to him. I know you've got him on speed dial, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Destroyers, really taking some pot shots.
I've got a great idea for the next map for PUBG Mobile. Yeah. Sorry.
You sent that now?
Yeah, sent
that all gone off. Nice. Hype currently onto SynerGE. Taking a lot of shots, very accurate shots coming out from Total there and Nixon, but Snake pretty much immediately rattled down there. Schreider saw him do a lot of work yesterday, not quite able to move it through now, does get flushed out, so SynerGE are losing players by the second.
Not going to be too happy with that, of course. Rattling off those shots early. This is what you suffer when you go for the crash. It's really difficult to try and maintain it, especially if you aren't super sure of the location of where the enemy team is, and you end up leaving one alive. Vashu has to run away, tail between his legs.
He should have been dead, though. He should have been dead. The pan blocked 2 shots.
It's a very good. It's level 4 armor.
Level 4 armor. 2 shots just plinked off the pan there. Retribution. Counting their lucky stars, obviously, well, I mean, they're not too many lucky stars. They did lose 3 of their players, so it's just 1 star in the sky, and they're like, I know you still got my back, mate.
Just the one for now. But Hype, they've managed to pick up 3 kills, so a nice start for them. Hold down the compound, get a couple of vehicles as well.
Retribution actually pulling up close to them, though. Remember, Vikendi, a very small map, third party, super available to them.
What you will see a little bit as well on Vikendi is teams going very, very central in the compounds that they opt to push towards. This is because you don't want to leave compounds. You want to try and stay in the circle as long as possible, and every compound that is closer to the center is more likely to be in the next circle as well. So having a position there means that you can stay where you are for longer, remove any risk of having to go for another rotation, because that is where you are vulnerable.
Now, MegaX, Encore, looking like the scout here, just passing by Hype. Hype take a couple of shots. Gurkha also very, very far forward. So many teams just coalescing around this area. Encore's vehicle, very damaged, does not want to have that blow up in his face.
Not just yet, anyway. If you blow it up in front of you, you can provide cover, but vehicle's super important for these rotations, for these crashes over on Vikendi.
Still Vikendi quite small. You still make the traverse on foot, but right now getting to this circle, as it is so much southerly on that western side, they definitely want it. Team RG with a cheeky shot there onto Viper.
That's 2 downs as well for Pain, and the teammates aren't anywhere nearby. They might just be able to confirm this, and certainly they'll be able to guard them. But looks like they are going to spot one out. Viper is probably going to go down here, already taking quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, I don't think he can make the shot. He pulled that. He was like, these iron sights just aren't good for the job. And that will be.
He's picked up. He's got the Vector instead now.
Yeah, Vector, you can whack a pretty long sight on it, surprisingly, for an SMG. Really scarily accurate as well, especially on PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, it is nice to see, and that's what we're seeing more as well. SMGs come into play. It's highly effective in the compound style. Everyone's going to be looking to maybe pick them up. The G36 as well, a dominant weapon on PUBG Mobile in this map. Of course, it's unique to Vikendi. They are going to be able to find it out. Team RG, again, picking up another kill. So 2 against Pain.
Probably one of the most satisfying sounding guns in the game as well.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I think that it's a really...
got a lot of oomph to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's not... Well, I wouldn't say oomph. I think it's got the right amount of oomph. It's not got a lot, but it's got the right amount, and it's got a little bit of a satisfying... I don't know, after yeah, it's got a nice pop to it.
Yeah.
It's quite it's got a crunch.
It's strange. We should probably make like an ASMR PUBG Mobile Guns channel.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think we could go for that. What would be, do you think the G36...
Do you want to just text Player Unknown again, please?
No, he said shut up and get on with the broadcast. He replies, yeah.
Oh, okay. Just strap it on the belt a bit more there. Unfortunately,
Oh no. Sorry, boss.
Sorry, boss. We'll get on with it.
8-bit, they have got that compound to themselves. That's really, really very central to the circle, as we were talking about. Those compounds central is king. That's what you want to see. Xspark as well, a little bit over towards the northwestern side, but they are spread out a little bit along the coast. Of course, with the amount of water in the circle, it does change things up just a little bit. ETG.Brawlers trying to move on in as the circle is about to close. Of course, the second circle as well, keeping Dino Park in it, which I'm happy to see. Might be able to see a little bit of a scuffle around it as well.
I mean, it's all we've ever wanted at the end of the day. Like, I know Christmas is quite far away.
Well, all I ever wanted was to see you smiling.
I'll get out my luminescent wristbands and we'll have like a small rave in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, these teams really looking to avoid a rave with any other teams dropping in on them.
Oh, yeah.
No one else is invited to their compound.
There is quite a few warehouses here, but people tend to not try and get together there because warehouses don't provide the best cover.
Plus, that's illegal.
Yeah, very much so.
So don't do that.
Don't do that at all. That is unacceptable. Snacks now. Just taking the fight versus Hype. The versus Hype MegaX have been here for quite a while. The problem for them is like moving up to hype has been very, very difficult. So there's a little bit of hard cover on the way up in terms of rocks and trees, but they are still making their way uphill. So it's a little bit more difficult than they might like. Really quite happy with hype currently, though. They're keeping eyes on everything. NLR2 has been in the water for a very long time. Should someone tell him that he might get hypothermia? Because that tends to be quite an awful illness.
Where is that? Is that in Milner? Okay, he's right on the south.
He's been doing this for quite a while.
He's
you would have thought
he's getting the breaststroke on.
Yeah, front crawl might be a little bit easier.
It's quite an angle.
It's quite the angle. Oh, yes.
Onto the Destroyer.
Nice.
Might be able to gather the info there.
Those boots look really heavy as well.
I don't think you'd be able to swim in them, do you think?
No, I think
you wouldn't.
You just sink.
You would just sink.
Yeah.
It's not the ideal attire for going for a cold swim.
He is making sure that he's ducking under when he can to prevent as much.
Not a lot of rotations happen. Can we look at something else, please?
Yeah.
There we go. There's not a lot of rotations happening now as everyone has sort of found their central position. MegaStars, Pain will have to rotate in and
Look at this poor guy.
Potentially Blind as well, need to move. MSX to boot.
After the poor beginnings he's had, now he's just resigned himself to a corner. Oh dear. Poor man. Poor man.
He's just reciting a prayer to himself.
It's all going to be okay.
It's all going to be okay.
It's going to end in Dino Park. I'm going to have a good time, even if I go down in 16th.
I'll be able to see a Stegosaurus.
Hell yeah. Everybody knows Stegosauruses are really cool.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
My favorite dinosaur?
Yeah.
Probably a raptor, to be honest with you.
Do you think?
Did you know that the raptors, they look nothing like in the movies? They had like a
They're
load
feathers,
of feathers all over them.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really terrifying birds.
It is pretty terrifying,
Yeah.
to be fair. Birds are already terrifying.
Yeah, pigeon flew up the other day. I tried, for some reason my body immediately reacted as if I was getting hit by a boxer. And I like straight to the side. I was.
You nearly needed a change of trousers.
Almost. It came around my face.
Well, yeah.
It had like some sort of vendetta with me. I had a problem.
Maybe it's trying to land in your bird's nest.
Potentially.
On the top of your head.
That's mean. I just had a haircut.
I know. But you hadn't then.
Whoa! You went straight in.
But you hadn't then.
That's true. It did look like a bit of a bomb. Team KO are currently just looking down at the Retribution. Vashu.
Circle keeps Dino Park in.
Yeah, Vashu still. He's not moved an inch. He's just chilling. Oh, I feel so sorry for him. Actually, I wonder if he's just on the phone.
He's just having. He's just.
Might
he's
be
just
taking
ringing up.
an important phone call.
No. Look,
Mum, I'm playing in the PMCO, please. Like, I need to get back to this.
I think he might be ordering some food.
Potentially. I mean, he's got a while to wait before.
Although to be fair, delivering to that location, the delivery driver that makes that, I would tip them so much.
I can't make that kind of rotation. I'm going to have to cancel your order.
That's a £5 charge.
for a Team Xspark caliber rotation.
Oh, what's that? I think that's a.
It's a tenner.
I'm trying to think of it in rupees.
I don't know.
I think they're I can't remember the exact conversion rate.
Get the conversion rate up.
I will not.
Please.
No. But all of these
Jamie.
teams that did take a central compound earlier on, they are reaping the rewards for it. They are still safe. They are still okay. At the moment, ETG.Brawlers, my favorite team now, because they are holding Dino Park.
Are you going to hold them? Are you going to hold it to that?
Absolutely.
Retribution currently taking a couple of shots there. Team KO, despite not looking too great on the leaderboard, it seems that Manu's actually got a pretty good bead on the team. Nice shots coming out from him.
Only six players gone down so far. Rip do take a knock, though. They are right out on the western side. They do need to make a little bit of a faster rotation. They're surrounded by Xspark as well, one of the best teams moving into this group.
They are quite split, though. Paratosh still making his way up the coastal side. So currently, Xspark are really only looking at having 3 players away, very, very far away from the team, making a really long rotation.
So this is the scouting plays that we were looking at seeing towards the 3rd, 4th phases even. He's just going to be gathering the intel, telling his team where is potentially open for them. Oasis will go down, but he's gathered the intel in time as well. So, you know, they do lose the player, but they gain a lot of information about where there are other teams.
And really, the path that he took, you couldn't see it on your screen right there, but the path he took was basically a straight shot from the coastal side, just beneath Vihar, straight down to Milner. So basically, it looks like Xspark's rotation ideas is probably to just move down the coast. So as long as they know where everyone is hanging out, they should be quite okay. But Paratosh, I really do think he needs to start thinking about getting back to his team. He is split off by RIP currently, but it is MegaStars over here looking to take the shots onto Team KO. Just using the Timber currently as a bit of cover available to both of them. Wood surprisingly strong, stronger than Kevlar apparently. Out comes the Molotov
Nice
though.
Molotov.
That is not good for the Wood.
Ooh.
A lot of damage coming through. The guy's bloody on fire.
He's
Needs
still
to heal
burning.
up quickly. There we go.
Oh, one more tick would have done it if he hadn't moved in time. I would have been able to take him down, but that's a lot of damage. That's going to soak up some meds, so nicely done there to try and get a little bit of power. Now we're going to see teams start to try and vie for the same compounds, and this is where crashing is going to start to come in. You can see on the back of Kisley, he's got the Bison, actually. That's a huge magazine, and is great for multiple players pushing onto the same location. If you're able to land the headshots, then fantastic, great. You're onto a winner.
Very much a suppressing fire type of weapon. It doesn't do the most damage, but like you say, John, a lot of a high magazine means you can continue to suppress a team for a very, very long time as just a single player.
Dino is still in the next circle.
Yes!
It's still going to go. Still potential to go there, and ETG.Brawlers can remain if they so choose. Pain might try to move in, though. They are on the outside there. They were over towards Tovar. They'll have to move a little bit southwest as the next rotation comes in. Everybody moving in, and again, not many rotations starting to come out because of that central style. Absolutely
No one on this eastern side towards Abbey and Tovar, so no one's moving through currently. For some reason, when John's just pointing out that when I point towards the map, I tend to seem like a bit of a weatherman. Very, very weird.
I wouldn't say weatherman.
No?
No.
Poor man's weatherman?
I'll figure it out eventually. I'll get back to you.
Vashu, still here behind the door. Only a motorcycle helmet, so...
Well, he hasn't been looting since right at the start.
I think he's just looking for that placement point, really.
Yeah, Nepali Ho, they've made a start to a rotation. Actually moving a little bit further out of the circle to try and regroup with the rest of their squad. Xspark would need to push in as well, but they've got two teams right in front of them.
The Team KO know exactly where they're coming from as well, setting themselves up to be in a position to just flank them. But currently, Team Xspark know that they just want to get out of there, drop in the vehicle.
Ooh.
They know where the team is now. They can move out towards this next compound, which is completely uninhabited. So this is going to be an excellent position for them. Unfortunately, it's not in the circle. This is exactly what we predicted at the beginning, is that many, many players remaining in Phase 4, all 16 teams still alive.
We'll have to see if they can handle it, you know. It's pretty tricky to find a compound at this stage. So if you haven't claimed one early, which is what we said before, gone central, taken a spot. A lot of these teams, they haven't moved for at least 3 phases, right? That's the power of having a central zone, of having a central compound in the zone, sorry.
Pain look like have moved down to ETG.Brawlers. Bought themselves a ticket for Dino Park. ETG.Brawlers want the Dino Park for themselves, so looking to evict them from the premises.
Come on, the Northern Shift. That's what we're praying for. Keep Dino Park in it.
Slam that in chat, boys. Pray for Dino Park. MegaX currently directly in the center, just chilling out.
If the circle doesn't go to Dino Park, I want massive Fs just completely everywhere. Just F in chat if it doesn't shift north. Because, quite frankly, it's thoroughly disappointing. Oh, no. It's got a little bit of it in, so I'll still count that,
yeah.
I think.
That's like a half.
I think I'll still count
like
that.
A half.
Only some Fs.
Yeah.
A little bit of F.
Just eyes in chat, basically.
Yeah, just or E's.
Just E's.
Not quite.
Yeah, it's not
E's
quite,
in chat,
not
boys.
quite enough. Team Xspark will manage to make that clockwise rotation towards the northern side and just plant themselves in that way. Not many compounds at all in this last circle, though, so this is going to... It's going to crunch a lot of teams. A lot of teams are about to go down. Things are about to get messy, John.
Rotations have to come in from about 7 to 8 teams here. Try and find a spot. But MegaX actually should be pretty happy with their spot. It looks like they've got 2 compounds locked down. Nepali Ho looks like they're right on the edge of the zone. They have a hillside as well, which can be very, very powerful at controlling those entranceways.
Disconnect just took a nasty headshot there. Barely survives, has to leave. NLR2 also has to make the rotation with a little bit of practice. That's time on Disconnect, but can't quite connect the last shot.
Disconnects himself from that fight rather nicely. The push has to come through now as the zone will start to crunch on in. Everyone has to start to leave some buildings. There will be a lot of teams that will not be able to play a compound now. There aren't enough remaining into the next circle, so they will have to start to play terrain. Although, some teams could try and share a compound, and we're seeing that sort of outside the zone here with Mega and Team KO. MegaStars having to just disengage from here, but Xspark are out on the hillside, and Team KO might have spotted them.
Yeah, VSS and a micro Uzi, not the best of equipment available to him. RIP taking down Blind on the top side. This is exactly what I meant earlier, John. Things are starting to get a little bit messy. Retribution now chiming in too. Xspark quite quickly just take a position behind the hillside there. They want to make sure they've got as much cover as possible. Nepali have got a really good position up here, but a Molotov makes it all the way to the top. That's really, really tough and bad business for them. And MegaStars right behind them.
Blind taking heavy casualties as well. Xspark take a knock as these rotations do start to crunch in.
That was Vashu. Just single player from SynerGE actually backstabs Team Xspark.
Well, he gets one knock. How much more is he going to be able to get? That's the question, right? They should be able to get back and res that one out as Vashu has to make the push straight into the enemies he's just shot on. They will know where he's coming from.
Circle about to pop. Goes pretty much right on top of MX here.
F's for Dino Park. F's for Dino Park. But yeah, MegaX, again, really, really happy with this circle. The pushes from the west, though, they are going to be brutal. Ronak goes down as well as Team KO start to chime in the fight.
Yeah, Scout also probably very quickly next.
Vashu.
Vashu now gone from Paratosh. But it is Retribution who have eyes on Team KO, ready to third party this fight. Pry the hands of Team KO away from Team Xspark for the time being. Team Xspark looking like they want to make this rotation towards the clockwise side and then moving from the northern area. MegaStars still trying to make their way up this mountain though. It's going to be very difficult. And currently Nepali have got a really strong hold on it despite the Molotov earlier giving them a little bit of a bad time.
Xspark have got Scout into the zone now. Paratosh looking to try and bring up the rear, but he's got a tricky rotation to make. He is taking a little bit of a fight on the back with Team KO. But Team KO have to move. They are the ones at risk. Paratosh is closer to the circle. They have to leave, and you've got Retribution and Nepali Ho all looking that way as well, but they all have to make that rotation as well. They have to start to shimmy over the mountain.
Now, NLR2 getting a little bit of scouting out there. Sky going down from ETG.Brawlers. MegaX starting to also lay the hurt in. NLR2 with a tricky situation. MegaStars finally making the push. He does turn his back at the wrong time. Swings around immediately, gets the spray through. Does he survive this? I don't think he does. Does go down. No bullets left in the mag there, John.
Not quite able to get it done, but he did get one knock in the meantime, as these pushes now starting to become all the more difficult. Paratosh getting back up from Scout, as Scout rotates out of the circle. MegaStars trying to hold it down as Nepali Ho get dismounted from the top of the mountain. Two players have managed to escape, however, as they move their way towards the circle. Everybody over on the southern side starting to crunch in, as well as Rip come down, and they go tumbling. Brawlers as well, they found themselves in the circle. Team RG have a little bit of a foothold towards the south, as it is absolute chaos on this rotation.
MegaStars currently securing a lot of kill points here as well from teams in the distance. Final Boss did a really good job there despite getting the third party peek from Nepali. He has survived and is now moving in. Really, really well done to him, but he is the last member alive now. Retribution currently holding down in a single compound. Grenade could prove deadly to them. There's a Molotov onto a niche. Blind also taking a casualty there. I believe that they may have gone out. No, MegaStars in 15th.
A lot of players now starting to crash into each other. This is where the SMGs will start to rattle off. You can see a couple of AKMs as well. The G36s, I imagine, will be coming in. But there's actually ETG.Brawlers with a mini as well. Still going for that one as the push comes on through. 8-bit still in the running on the southern side of the circle. The next circle will pop. It will go a little bit westernly. But it's okay for a lot of these teams remaining. However, nobody really has control of this next circle. It's all for the taking.
Little cheeky nade there from Curio. Retribution. Maximus X now down in 12. Look at that. We're only seeing 12, but already only 9 teams remaining. ETG.Brawlers all going out as well. In 10th there. Scout goes down to a knock. One player remaining on Team Xspark.
Well, Paratosh will echo it back onto Team KO and should be able to go for the res as well.
Really, a lot of these teams here just looking for that 5th to 1st place. That is exactly where you want to be to get some of those points in. keep yourself on that leaderboard for a little bit longer. Currently, Retribution got such a strong spot in this circle, though, with this compound to provide cover for themselves.
Yeah, we are out of the low-scoring bracket, which means that getting 2 kills is sometimes more important than going for this fight in this stage. So we'll see what they're able to lock down, as the pushes will need to come in the next 10 to 15 seconds for some of these teams to try and control. Prince just absolutely becoming ethereal, moving around like nobody could touch him, and apparently they can't.
Yeah, a ghost in the mist there. Just can't quite get him.
A fart in the wind.
Absolutely.
He just disappears.
You will smell him later, though, when he comes back to bite you.
Paratosh goes down, unfortunately, in a close-range fight with Manu. Will Scout be able to pick up the pieces? That's the question, as the blue is pushing them as well.
Manu very low. Oh, Paratosh is flushed. Manu walking away. Big nade there. His equipment is very much done. No meds, like you said. Retribution. Nice spot on the top of this hill right now. They will switch out the players. Godkill just trying to see if he can look over the edge, but he is exposing himself to so many other teams. There's the smoke, providing the cover to 8-bit below. Scout getting in the knock on there with a Molotov. Really, really well done. And then hits onto Manu as well to flush him. Blind is now out in 9th. Only 8 teams remaining in phase 7 as well.
Scout just still going, turning around and shooting over onto Payne as well. He's controlling the northern side just all on his lonesome. Managed to get Team KO as well. They are out of the running as Scout now opens a little bit more ground for him to try and push in.
Obviously, the big boys here, Retribution and MegaX, with 4 members remaining, 8-bit with 2, Hype with 2 as well, and then we just go down from there. Team RG out there in the smoke.
Next circle as well is going to go back to Retribution, still being able to control it. A nice wall for them to play in a mountainside as well. 8-bit just cowering in the shadows.
Scout going to have a really tough time moving in here. He has to move through Hype as well, though, before he can even get to Retribution. MegaX Uncaught does hit the side there, but it's Scout who takes him down. Will go for that kill there. He has cover from Payne as well. That little ridge side providing him so much protection from all the teams up here on the compound, so he could easily go for that kill. But now MegaX will absolutely know where he is if they choose to make that crash into the walls.
The question is, have they been tracking the number of kills going over onto Xspark? Do they know that there's only 1 player left alive for them? Because if they don't, they might come a cropper. But a little bit of a fight with Cold Blood as Scout now engaged in another fray and comes out on top once more. This guy is a machine, a one-man army. And Xspark, you can see why they sat at the top. This guy is on fire.
Just knocks Payne out of the running. Scout still going. In comes the next. Oh my God! Huge spray coming from Scout. Does he live? No! Paradox and Swag so low there. Despite going down, I think he's pretty much put the nail in the coffin for MegaX right now.
That's a lot of damage sent their way, but they do find the similar bunker that it was there before for Scout. So now they can start to move along that hillside, move along that ridge line, and potentially think about pushing on up. 8-bit still have their shadows, and they will strike straight out from them.
Excellent spray from both players there. Retribution will steal the kill away from him. So now, a little bit of information to Arvi as well, meaning that he knows there is a player holding on the top side now. MegaX, they are making a move, trying to run up, using that smoke to their advantage.
I want to see a little bit of an underarm nade throw just drop down on top of 8-bit. That would flush them straight on out.
Yeah, out comes the Molotov from Hype. Trying to create a little bit of space right now.
Oh, he's right there.
Retribution, I think he does know. He absolutely does know.
Oh, he spots it.
Oh, the headshot. Easy peasy. Well played, Curio. Could hear the man scuffling around underneath him, making a bit of a racket. And now Retribution, 4 members alive. MegaX, really tough spot for them. RV and Ash down below, they really don't have too much chances. They're just hoping to get that number 2 spot.
To be fair, it's not a bad idea actually to leave 8-bit alive, because they know they can't push up towards them. They'll have to wrap around the same, and you're creating more difficulty for MegaX to try and push on through, because you know that 8-bit are going to try and fight it.
This was probably the time to go for MegaX. They got a knock there. That's the best chance they would have had. But they've instead started to play quite passively, which is giving a lot of time for Retribution to recuperate, get that healing through. Swag goes to the pre-fight, doesn't find anything from it.
Hitman's up in the top of the window as well. We'll be able to just vault out when the time comes, but MegaX, they need to think about making this push, because the zone is going to start to crunch down now. We're in phase 9. No one's going to be happy with it, but we are here. 3 teams still remaining as Snack starts to fire onto 8-bit. The thorn in the side that could potentially change everything.
There's God Kill goes down. Curio on the top side. Will they get the knock onto him? No, they have to deal with 8-Bit too. MegaX really dealing with so many fronts at the same time. Swag does go down. Looking to just get some kills in the end there. Snacks back out into the blue. This is going to take so much damage. Retribution finishing it off. Well played to them.
Phase 9 will crunch everybody together. 8-Bit actually coming out on top. Hang on a minute.
Retribution did not make it. RV by himself actually lives to the end. It was the circle that pushed Retribution out of the way, and despite being in a really, really precarious situation, it is 8-Bit who will be walking away with the 20 points.
I was certain it was Retribution. I was absolutely certain, but in the end, 8-Bit able to hold it down. The shadows working out well for them. Fantastic then. Great. They picked themselves up a chicken dinner. Seems like playing a little bit cowardly and not getting taken down for it is the way to go for them in this situation. Beautifully done. Able to just hide underneath and use Retribution essentially as their bodyguards. No one could push them. They would have been spotted out. They would have been taken down.
Yeah, I mean, I think MegaX also knew what the dealio was because they were trying to flush 8-Bit out from underneath there. I wonder if, I believe it was RV who went forward in the end and Ash was in the back potentially healing and got that last heal off, which kept them alive from a lot of circle, whereas Retribution and MegaX taking a lot of fire from each other, so the circle just ticked for more on both of them. I mean, 8-Bit are probably just as surprised as we are that they won that in the end.
Potentially. I mean, it was so chaotic. I have to take a look at the replays when it comes up. See exactly how it went down. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more clarity on exactly what happened, because Phase 9 obviously just going to close the circle entirely, so everybody has to make that move. And it becomes very, very chaotic. I have to say, though, you did highlight this during the final fight. MegaX, they didn't make a push early enough. They could have just gone up and tried to crash or tried to take down 8-Bit and ladder up in terms of the points for placement. You know, that taking one team down there would have been worth 4 points to them. And that's the same as a squad wipe.
Yeah, they just were very, very unsure. Because they were, like I said, they were trying to deal with 8-Bit and also Retribution too, until Retribution just started lobbing themselves off the cliff. They just wanted to get down there. Here's this last play. Now we'll really get to see exactly what happened. You can see in the back there, it is RV.
Is he healing up?
He's healing. He was healing. Yes, he was absolutely healing.
Okay, he's still up and available there. Everyone goes down.
That was the play.
I cannot believe that.
Yeah, Ash moves forward, creates space for RV, and RV heals in the circle whilst everyone else, because they're preoccupied with each other, no one can sit on the floor healing. What an outstanding play from 8-Bit. I don't think they were surprised at all to win that. I think that was absolutely calculated.
Fantastic.
That is very, very cool. A lovely bit of PUBG.
They win it. They win it with 6 kills as well, so a decent score there. 26, certainly a nice turn up for the books. And that will give them a little bit of an advantage moving forwards. Unfortunately, you know, Xspark going down in 6th, so they weren't able to repeat their performance.
How many kills did Scout did actually get in the end?
Scout only got 4. I say only, he got 4 kills. So very nice to see there. Here comes the scores coming in. 26 points, but 22 for SynerGE Retribution. 8 kills as they were able to hold it down on the top of that hillside.
Really even in terms of kill points here. No one really had a massive amount of kills in the end. Xspark, they were kind of torn apart here and there, and Vashu was lurking, waiting. A little trap for a waste in the end. So a little bit unfortunate for them, but what a crazy game. What an insane game. I really enjoyed that one. Vikendi does create like these crazy last circles though, because the terrain, like we said before, it's very, very wacky.
Yeah, and there was a compound all the way right until the end. That's Vikendi through and through. The teams that have got more than 10 points should be happy with this performance in terms of, you know, having the power to move out of these group stages, which is really the name of the game at this stage. You don't need to be putting up huge numbers. But speaking of huge numbers, Orange Rock's still on 94, but Xspark have crossed that 3-digit threshold in total points.
Yeah, managed to just push it onto that 108. 8-Bit there, moving up to 5th place with 73 after that wonderful chicken dinner. MegaX though, still in 86. Again, we highlighted this team quite a lot. They're a very consistent team at the end of the day. They do very well to get into those last circles, into those top positions. And it seems, if you look at that, I think it was 47 points they had in terms of placement points, a little bit higher, than their actual kill points total. Here's the rest of the teams. As you can see, we go through 30 points, 40 points. Seems to be around about the good average you want to keep hitting.
Yeah, this is going to be the red zone page. Of course, all of these teams at risk, especially Team KO, SynerGE, and Hype, who have all played 6 games, and they're still on that page. That's really not where you want to be finding yourself. Check it out, though. teams like Xspark are going to start to clamber up as well against the powerhouse that was Orange Rock. Although, to be fair, 2 more games will do it for you.
Yeah, Existence definitely was putting the work in yesterday, that's for sure. Ronak at 14, Scout at 14, Jonathan still at 12, and Snacks with 12 kills as well on MegaX. Seems to be the big lad on campus for MegaX.
But it's fantastic to see Existence still topping it out. 4 games, 14 kills, that's 3.5 average overall across all of the games they've played. So that's a really good pickup. You know, if you're hitting 3-4 kills, you're doing a lot of work for your team in every single game as well.
Anyway, guys, we're going to go to a very, very short break, and we'll be back with you for match number 3, which will be on Miramar. So we'll see you guys there very, very soon. Just see them pass. They have rocked up. It's all 4 members. Drops out. Will he find one? Yes, he does. There goes the knock. He's got... You know, it's just all 3 of them. Oh, VLT right in the corner. Assassin does go down. But already, Orange Rock taking some shots from the sidelines.
Everybody get it done. Prince will be there. We'll spot this one out. Goes up for the spray.
Excellent spray there, John.
Wins out the trade. Nicely done. And actually, Ted fires over onto Orange Rock. 8-bit.
Just move about, make sure you get a better position.
Oh, dear.
Oh, God.
My goodness me.
Drive-by. Thank you. Super useful to create 2 angles, and they are looking to do so right now. Looks like Ignite is going to go for the res instead. In a very obvious position. Zombie just comes around the corner and goes for that shot. It's going to be nice and easy. But it is Pfizer from the side. That's the double angle I was talking about. And that is MSX out. Can't stay there. Look, you better do. Gotta, what? Get in.
No, okay. Fair enough. It looks like he is going to...
He's alive still.
Man goes down. Finally taken out by the Zova. In comes the spray.
My
Mr.
Lord.
Yozo.
know you're looking at me. I know you're looking at me. Nice. I know you're looking at me. 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 I know you're looking at me.
Welcome back to the South Asian region of the PMCO 2019. Vivo is our title sponsor of the PMCO 2019. And if you're playing some amazing games just like 8-Bit did, you need an amazing smartphone. The Vivo V17 Pro is the official smartphone of PMCO 2019 fall split of Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka.
With multi-turbo acceleration technology, cold start speeds increased 25%. 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of ROM. With dual engine fast charging, the V17 Pro never hesitates.
And it feels great in the hand as well, so don't you guys worry about it. And if you want to keep up with all the action that we're showing you today as we head into match 3, definitely subscribe to the YouTube PUBG Mobile Esports channel and smash that like button as well. And if you also want to play some PUBG Mobile, you can download that one on the Google Play App Store, on the iOS App Store too.
Head on over, type it in, tipper-tapper, PUBG Mobile.
Get those thumbs moving.
Get that one downloaded and try and take the fight to some of these teams who you might be seeing on your screens over the coming, next few coming days. There we go.
All right, John. Let's actually digest exactly what happened there with 8-Bit versus MegaX and also Retribution. What a crazy last circle there.
Yeah. I think it was born out of a lack of aggression that I would have liked to have seen from MegaX. I think that in all rights, Retribution should have been able to take that one home. They should have been able to displace 8-Bit a little bit earlier. They had control over the hillside. They could have just underarm chucked a Molotov, a grenade, any sort of utility down there. Maybe they were out of it. Maybe they were out of that, having fought with a couple of teams across the way, but still not ideal, right? And it ended up coming back to bite them. They ended up in second.
Yeah, and MX, they got the knock there, and then there was essentially a 3v3. And plus, in that moment, you know the enemy team is going to be going for the revive, right? So you just rush in that situation. We might have seen a situation where maybe a very small percentage of like 30% of the time, MegaX wins that fight. But that's still a 30% as opposed to 8-Bit winning it out instead of either of those teams.
Worst case scenario, they end up exactly where they did in third place.
Exactly.
Which is still a great turn up, to be honest. I mean, that's, making it to third, that gets you 10 points. That's really the sort of boundary where you want to be hitting to just consistently chug along in terms of grinding up those points and seeing yourself safe into the semi-final stage, which is exactly what everyone wants to be going towards.
Yeah, because the 20, 14, and 10 points are really important in that number 1, 2, and 3rd place, because they, like you said, John, give you that pretty much standard average that you really need to stay on that first leaderboard and keep yourself very safe in the game. Obviously, when we go into semi-finals, the points will be reset again, but for the time being, a lot of these teams just try and display a little bit of dominance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all about dominance, right? Especially on Vikendi, it's dominance over compounds, over rotation paths, over intelligence as well, in terms of having that info.
Super mental game.
Right, absolutely. Certainly on Vikendi. But we're moving over onto Miramar, which is a little bit more relaxed, right? In terms of hard locations. In Vikendi, you have this series of compounds that you need to be moving between. In Miramar, you need to be a little bit more like water. You need to be like water.
Exactly.
As you move through the map, because it is you need to be highly adaptable. There's a lot of terrain you need to know how to play around and be able to adapt to what you have at your disposal in a lot more ways than maybe you would do over on Vikendi.
Yeah, it's very much a reactive map, right, where there's little cover available to you. So if you don't make a decision to move to that small, tiny bit of cover that might potentially be in the circle, sure, you might get lucky if the circle shifts over to you, but also that might have been the right decision, and now it's too late. You're going to get a nice little video of Miramar just taking us through some of the towns there, but we are going to get over to our playing path right now, which is pretty central from the south to the north.
Couple of places might be difficult to get to. I imagine we might see one team maybe break the break for El Azahar, but really in general that northeastern side is pretty inaccessible here. Such a big map is over here on Miramar that it's going to be very difficult for anyone to make that far of a rotation. You kind of have this cone around the plane path that is accessible. It's a little bit wider at the start because, of course, you can get out a little bit further by dropping earlier, getting some vehicles, and you have the similar rotation time for someone going in. But once you get towards the top, you're really looking at maybe a kilometer or two either side.
Yeah, and this is probably the perfect plane path to get a vehicle early because we are right next to Los Leones, and you see all those roads spidering outwards from it, and on those roads are so many vehicles that you can scout out as you're dropping down on the parachute, and then potentially move to El Azahar, but like you say, Don, it's so far away, so a lot of these teams probably going to drop a little bit later, figure out where the circle goes, and then make decisions based on that.
I'm looking at Hacienda del Patron as a place where a team could try and occupy water treatment as well, a little bit further north, where you can try and get a little bit of loot on. But the rotations away from there are pretty tricky to try and get through a lot of these difficult spots around there. But that's a huge shift. Look at that heavy northwestern. That's going to be decent for the plane path, however, and anyone who was thinking of potentially going out to the east might have to think again and realign their plans.
Yeah, we might get some early fights going as well, because so many people dropping on this western side of the map. Team Xspark already making their move from the southern side up into the middle. Team Destroyers, though, very close to MSX, so they might want to take a fight here or move away very quickly up into the circle past the roads, where actually if they go on the very west side, they get a nice little bit of cover as they move through the valley. And that basically there's a massive road that just strings all the way up on that western side, so they can go as far as they want, really.
Yeah, no one has gone further east than water treatment and Hacienda del Patron. That's exactly sort of what I expected to see. So fantastic positioning from them. Everyone is mounted up in some vehicles as well, so they might be rotating out a little bit further east now, but they will have to come back west. In general, though, not too many teams actually outside the circle. I think a total of 5 are not actually inside the circle anymore. Pain a little bit breaching that as well, but everyone's going to be pretty happy with that. 2 teams in El Pozo, they should be able to survive pretty nicely together. No real need for them to come into contact with each other. It is big enough to sustain that. Los Leones only holding 1, potentially going to be crashed into by another, but 8-Bit are going to be, again, very happy with a free set of loot.
So this is probably the fight that we're most interested in right now, John. It's the fight for this small little compound down here on the southern side of the map. It really Maximus X versus the Destroyers. You can see Avsec looking to get a little bit of a scout on there. KO might have actually seen him as he makes the cross, a little bit of parkour, get back to his team, provide the intel. But I think the 2 teams quite easily live here together. I mean, there is 2 sides to the road, and no one really wants to cross that because that makes you a very easy target.
The question is, will there be enough loot to sustain both of these squads? They'll be able to get some guns and maybe a bit of meds on board, but in general, you want to be looting the entirety of this thing to try and get a little bit of power. A couple of knocks actually coming through as Pain clash with ETG.Brawlers right on the eastern side of the next circle.
Vashu, my boy from last game, just sat in the corner. Now versus RIP. Sky, Thompson. Oh, if you just went forward, you would have had a nice little bit of a kill there.
Potentially. I mean, it's pretty risky. He's going to have to pick up Tempest on his way back, so maybe he had other ideas moving on forwards, and they do just want to exit there. Returning fire, but in general, they don't really want any of this. SynerGE will be able to just zone them away from the north side of water treatment.
8-Bit currently occupying Los Leones. They're going to get nice and looted down there. MegaStars in El Pozo on that western side where there is actual potential for military loot, so they're going to have a real good time there, but they are currently sharing that one with Team RG. And SynerGE making quite the long rotation out into
heavily
the
split
east
as well.
Yeah, heavily split. So a couple of players making their way to Tierra Bronca, whereas Schreider, they're currently making their way up to La Cabrera, and just for the time being, I imagine it's more intel than anything, making sure that they give the right information for SGE Survey to make his way back over past water treatment.
At the moment, we've got eyes on San Martin with Blind and Retribution on one side and the other, respectively. Should be able to be just fine. Again, the cities, the urban environments in Miramar are just so big to look at and to exist in that 2 teams could quite feasibly actually drop, and if they haven't spotted each other actually on the drop, never meet each other and be fully looted before they even think about going for a fight with one another, which is exactly kind of what we see in general over in El Pozo and a little bit now in San Martin. I think they do know where each other are now. Los Leones normally can hold up to 3 teams and fully loot all of them, but we've only seen 1 drop there so far. Nepali Ho, they're all the way on the southeastern coast and near Puerto Paraiso, and might have to move on in, but they have plenty of time. As long as they have the vehicles to do it, they should be okay. But having said that, there's a lot of teams in their way, right? That rotation is going to be sort of funneled through the south side of Picado unless they make a massive swing out towards the north and hit up someone like La Cobraria over in the northern sides. and try and get a little bit of ground over there. MegaStars and Team RG will try and hold on to El Pozo, I imagine, unless they want to leave it early, which might not be the worst of decisions.
No, currently Retribution and Blind also in close vicinity of one another, but obviously, like we were saying before, Miramar, quite a large map, so pretty easy to do that. Team Xspark now on your screen. Every single player with a vehicle. There's vehicles galore on Miramar, and you absolutely need them. You just have to traverse with them across to wherever you want to go next, because not only do they provide that actual power of transportation, but they also provide cover. And on a map like Miramar, where it tends to be fairly open at times, creating your own cover, really, really important.
Playing around what you're given. That's exactly the name of the game here in Miramar. Using a piece of terrain, structuring your vehicles around it. Can give you a lot of power if done right. Can be fatal if done wrong as well. So everyone will be looking to try and mount up. This is exactly the way you want to be rotating. Potentially a little bit more spaced out, but Team KO, they've got the idea. They've got the convoy going. The powerhouse of the 4x4 in the middle of it, and the buggies sort of flanking on either sides. No scouts ahead of them, but they're doing all right. Xspark, though, they're stuck in a party bus with Oace. He's just riding these ridges. An absolute pro.
Yeah, look at him go. He's, to be fair, if the rest of the team weren't getting, they'd have a pretty good time, but you don't want to stay in one vehicle at the same time. Currently, Team KO takes some shots onto Hype. Snake somehow.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just saw Snake's UAZ just suddenly fall off the cliff, and I was like, is he okay? But he is for the time being. Manu taking the spray, doesn't quite hit him yet. Nixon waits to make the cross though, knows he needs to get some speed, but they're still going for poor Snake over here. The shot's still going his way.
They're going to be able to get it in the end. It looks like Gurkha actually going down to Xspark on a separate rotation.
Yeah, this is where they want. This is very, very upsetting for Hype, because they wanted to rotate up here, but they rotated directly into Team Xspark. In come the barrage of the nades. I think one of them was very close to Gurkha. See if that goes off and does any damage. Not quite yet. Just fireworks in the air for the time being.
They have the high ground. They have the upper hand on this long boy mountain. It's quite difficult to move around it because you can't go for a flank. The length of it just doesn't allow for a fast wraparound, which means you do need to fight relatively just straight on if you want to try and dismount Team Xspark here. But Hype, they're getting pushed on, and Oace and Ronak, the duo from the previous iteration of Team Soul, are just going to roll it on down, and 3 knocks. That's the squads from Hype just being completely dismounted there.
Yeah, Nixon from Team Hype, obviously he was the last one to rotate, and he's going to be a sole member now remaining for them. Even so, Scout's having none of it. He wants to get the full team wipe. Ooh, KO actually steal the kill there from Team Xspark. I would not be very happy with that, but they did reveal their location to Team Xspark, so they'll have a little bit of intel. And no doubt at some point, you will see Team KO have to rotate past Team Xspark.
Both the opposite teams still hanging around there, but they've got MegaX now to contend with. Keeping track of 8-bit, they're on the southern side of this circle, rotating in currently. Nepali Ho on their back foot just a little bit. 8-bit are split up in a 2-2 formation. Nepali Ho relatively close to the back half of that cohort. They are still out in the blue, but it should be fine for them to move on in. There's plenty of space for everyone to find something in the next spot, and there's actually quite a lot of buildings here, so it is relatively urban into the next circle. You've got the entirety of El Pozo, you've got the Creative Fields buildings, the western side of San Martin, as well as Power Grid still in there, La Cobreria always still just holding on. There's so many compounds to actually play around here that it's kind of a unique third phase over here on Miramar.
Well, the grows are there inside the loot crate. Nice little weapon, very, very high fire rate, very, very accurate as well. A lot of these players are able to control the ARs with very good efficiencies though, so the Grozer doesn't really provide anything too much over to them. They'll still be very happy with just the M4. Credit Field's going to be kind of off limits for quite a while because it acts very much like Quarry does on Sandhawk. You don't really want to go into it because a lot of players can just walk around the side, spot out where you are. It's not as drastic as Quarry is on Sandhawk, but still definitely not a place you want to catch yourself with when that circle does get very much smaller later on.
Xspark, they have control of, as I said, one side of this of the Long Boy Mountain. That's still in just splitting this circle in half at the moment on the southern side, just south of Crater Fields. It's a really nice spot to hold. You're very, very safe from the eastern side. The entire mountain is just going to stop anyone crashing into you. You've got some nice ridge lines that you can hold on, and you've got an overview over the fields south of El Pozo. There's a lot of control gained by having a sort of position like that.
Yeah, there is. It means you can rotate from either side as well, provide yourself cover from the east or western areas. It does mean you have to kind of be wary of other teams who are also hiking on the mountain with you. Destroyers, one crazy. He's on the floor. MegaStars give him a bit of harassment. He's just waiting for him. Wants to secure the kill, and you would as well. 1 point, nothing to be scoffed at.
Certainly at this stage as well, because laddering up 1, 2, 3 places isn't worth any points. Getting a kill is. If you feel like you're at risk of going down, going for a hyper frag play is sometimes the right decision. If you know that there's a team right next to you, in the same way that we're seeing with Nixon, he might just pick up 1 or 2 kills and see what he can go for, because at the moment Vicious, I think he's spotted him out. Wow, okay.
That's very unfortunate. Vicious was like, oh, there's a person here. Oh, he actually gets one.
Is he going to confirm it? No, he isn't quite able to. I'm surprised he didn't try and get up and fight earlier. He would have heard Vicious coming in for the building.
Yeah, potentially you stand just behind the door rather than prone.
Or crouch, at least.
Yeah. There's a nice spray from Maximus X onto Omega. Looks like Jay is hitting back. There's a couple of players from Maximus S in the distance actually taking some shots onto Jay, trying to keep Omega up as long as possible. Player from Team Destroyer has gone forward, but has been downed here by KO.
The push can come through now. They just slow it down, but...
All right, Jay.
He's just going to be able to take it down and confirm the kill. Again, the points coming in. Last player left standing needs to try and survive if the Destroyers want to be able to be in with a chance of staying alive. No stims available. He's going to go down a little bit lower before using that first aid kit. The rest of his team potentially going to be confirmed here by MSX, and they do know exactly where he is, so he's going to have a really tough time. He moved down towards the muscle car, so he might just mount up and see if he can roll on through, but for the time being, he is just going to get zoned away. There's plenty of teams going, and the hillside is going to be fought over by 3 of these squads as well.
Yeah, they are so far away from that circle. It's going to come in fast, so very unfortunate for them, because they're going to have to make a move quickly. I don't think they were expecting that circle to push onto them so fast. Team KO having a pretty good game so far versus actually taking down a couple of members from 8-bit. Blind still up and available. Doing a very good job to keep themselves in the leaderboards. Obviously, it's quite a new team. So far, they've not obviously had a massive standout performance, but they haven't had a terrible performance either. Quite consistently towards the bottom of that bracket on the first page.
Well, the mountain that was occupied by Xspark, really powerful now, even more so. But very exposed to the eastern side, they have had to wrap around. They're not going to hold it down, however. Still going to be able to confirm a kill. Able to take one of the Brawlers down. 8-bit taking fire as well, as everyone is going to be now trying to vie for some of these buildings, potentially over towards Crater Fields as everyone exits the other urban environments.
Nice shots there from Oasis. Really long range. If the circle continues to drop onto this mountain that we're seeing here, we could have a very similar circle to one we saw in the global finals for Miramar, where it was RRQ taking the victory, where they kind of just played around the backside and held a long area. Instead of getting caught on top of the mountain where they only had 2 lateral positions they could move to, they're very much trying to move clockwise round. ETG.Brawler Nova straight out of that.
Paratosh went in for a fight and instantly he got shut down there. Unfortunate for him, but Xspark have rotated across to the hillside just to the east, so they have a different spot, different high ground, different place to play around. These rocks in the middle of Blind and Retribution, just holding it for now. Don't really want to push around the either side. They're right dead center of the circle as well, so they should be okay. SynerGE right on the northern side, though, have got a sight line onto a couple of these teams around the lip of this crater.
Yeah, Retribution. Eyes onto Blind.
Next circle down southeast.
Scout.
Really hard shift for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, Scout hits up Ted. Oasis finishes. I mean, that's 2 teams going down there. Destroyer out. Left out in the blue by Maximus X. Very unfortunate. Pain still in this one, though. They've had a bit of a tricky past couple of games. very much getting a little bit unlucky with their rotations, but not quite able to finish it out in one of the last circles.
Look at where Encore is right now. He's trapped in a really sticky spot. Retribution, they want to go for this. They want to try and put it in, but the rest of the MegaX, they're in a fight. They're locked down with the MegaStars. So it's going to be tricky for Encore to find any sort of respite. The hillside controlled at the moment by Nepali Ho and Pain. Whoever wins that fight out on the southeastern side of the next circle has a great spot to be playing with, as everyone else vies for the western and the northern flanks.
Indeed. This southern hillside could be really good for Team Xspark. The big thing to consider is it's not that much in the circle, so really you're wondering where the next circle will pop and how dangerous it's going to be trying to get down from that mountain afterwards. MegaStars up here taking a lot of shots from Team KO. Team KO just coming alive in this match. On Miramar, wonderful shots from Manu. Just keeps them completely locked down on that hillside.
4 kills already for the squad as well. Nice to see them racking up the points even this early on. 12 teams remain, so we're just about to hit the plateau of gaining a point per place. Whichever team goes down next will, of course, be 12th, then 11th as well, gaining 1 point, and we climb up from there. Xspark trying to make the push down the hill. Scout able to take just the 1 shot, and KO might not be able to find him just yet. The fire is being returned, however. Paratosh looking for the feet there. On to Vicious. Manu as well, just ducking down behind the wall. Scout heals up as they find a little bit of cover. They push in, and MegaStars, they're getting their boxes rattled as well. The shots fire off.
Paratosh not quite connecting the shots now. Getting a little bit frustrated, actually. Holding on the trigger for a little bit longer than needs be. Oasis is down now, so is Scout. MegaStars doing an excellent job to really punish Team Xspark for missing those initial, quite easy shots, to be honest with you. But they also have to worry about Team KO down here. MegaStars cannot get complacent up on that hillside.
Certainly can't. They will just get shot out and pinned down, as well as 8-bit Ash, actually, still in the backline, still riding high. The one player left for 8-bit, still putting in the work. Of course, this is the point where we hit that plateau of teams starting to gain points for placement. So he doesn't want to go down just yet. After that, he can start to snake it out, but getting a kill point or 2 on board might be great for them. All of it, Xspark now are revived. They are all back up and ready to go once again.
Really what they're most worried about now is equipment. As you can see, Oasis helmet very close to being knocked right off his head. Actually, Paratosh doing a pretty good job for himself. Now he hits those easy shots from before. Very, very well done from him.
The MegaStars do have to push a little bit further forwards, but so do Xspark. The next circle got a zone in again over towards Pain. Team KO will have to leave the compound they've been holding down for now as well.
That's MegaX going down from Oasis. Nice shots. Again, though, you still have to worry because the circle does come in, and now Team Xspark, they have to leave this mountainside. Where do they go? Because they'll be running into Nepali, also Pain. Currently, Retribution controlling the middle of the circle. Blind now making their way in as well, but Blind's been between Retribution and SynerGE for such a long time. Wonderful shots come out from Cole.
Ash goes down, final boss to be able to get it in the end, but that's 8-bit down and out as well. Everybody now starting to make the break. Circle's going to close in 10 seconds, and you can see Xspark are mounting up. They're in those vehicles, and they're making that rotation. They might try and find a way across this road and crash straight into the Nepali Ho / Pain side of it. The building's over on the eastern flank, looking mighty tasty for them, but they don't have too many vehicles. That's a nice sports car, though. Love it.
Yeah, they are running right into Pain's hands, but yeah, this is a beautiful car. The question is, can the play be beautiful as well? They do get out behind this rock, and
this
it looks
hillside
like,
is good for them.
Yeah, this is really good for them. They still have to be very wary of Pain behind them. Blind actually doing a lot of good work here. They are trying to finish off SynerGE, and if they can do that, they do prevent one threat from them. They'll be no longer boxed in. Retribution putting the work onto Team KO after Team KO basically given a lot of harassment to a lot of the teams surrounding them.
This rotation from Xspark actually is really, really good. They now have the central zone. They have the position against everybody who wants to push in. And remember, Pain can't push out for fear of Nepali Ho, so they've left Oasis there to try and deal with the sidelines. The rest of those 3 are just going to push in and hold on that northern flank and see what else they can get. It's a really nice spot for them with the hillside playing massively into their favor.
And Latu making his way down to the roadside. probably will see the players from Team Xspark as on the top side. Killsome, he just wants to stay alive at the moment. He's just hanging around on that hill. Even if he does knock down Oase will be able to call out for his teammates to turn around, and they've got the perfect cover to do it as well.
They need to be worried about Nepali Ho, who have rotated down the hillside. They might spot him out and see what they can get. I'm not too sure if they're worried about it just yet, but I think they've just come into contact from the back, but the returning fire is there.
It is. Looking for that hard cover, just bobbing and weaving. SynerGE now down finally. Team KO looking to run up on MegaStars. Final boss, as you see down there. Team KO still with 4 members alive. Pain Esports also on that side too.
This is a Team KO. Remember, Team KO, they're really far down on the leaderboard. A final finish for them would be absolutely spectacular. It could give them a little bit of a breather and some relaxation that's very much needed for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Team KO have been having a really tough time of it. It's kind of strange to see them lighted up so much in this game on Miramar, but Blind, also one of those teams towards the bottom of the rankings. They've done a really good job this game.
Nepali Ho and Pain will all have to push into this next circle as the rest of the squads have a foothold. Xspark are being pushed out as well. Oase goes forwards, takes 1 frag, and now Pain might try and fight it as well. Yep. On this hillside, this rotation is deadly for pretty much both of these squads now.
Yeah, Pain must leave, and currently Oase has a really good opportunity to prevent that evacuation from Pain, because he can see directly over the hillside. He's looking for NLR2 right now. I don't know if he knows there's 2 teams behind him. Looks like he does have eyes on Pain, just trying to deal with the 2 threats at once.
Deciding where they're going to go. The spray might come through from Paratosh, but no, he gets spotted out from a different angle. It's Team KO to try and displace them. Oase needs to be careful as well. Oh, he's just got the cover behind the palm tree. Nicely done, but this hillside now hotly contested.
Really bad crash there from Pain onto Retribution. Obviously, Retribution, they've only got 2 players alive, and Pain have taken so much damage from them.
Oh, no.
Pain, though, now in a position to start putting the hurt onto Team Xspark. A couple of players are down. It's just Scout. Remember, this lad was really, really deadly there on Vikendi. And he is again here on Miramar as he takes down Killsome. Evoke just chilling behind this vehicle. Looks like Xspark are coming from the side, but they've got to worry about all the teams behind them.
Pain, they're being dished it out as well. Team KO are there trying to control this hillside, but Xspark just continuing to light up the kill feed. Scout does get knocked, and they're coming back into it.
Yeah, it's NLR2 are really putting the hurt onto them. Looks like Pain are pretty much out now. It is NLR2 they have to worry about. Blind comes over the side. Nick putting in the work onto Team KO.
1 player, I believe, left standing for Xspark and Nepali Ho trying to roll on in finally. Going to be able to take down Paratosh as well. Go for the confirm, and now it's Nepali Ho trying to just find out the final kill.
Excellent
on the southeastern
rush there.
side. As teams are starting to drop now. 4 remain, and it's 2 for Xspark.
The most any team have is 2, so there's still potential here, but Ronak, he is knocked. NLR2 finally dealt with by Scout, but he has to go get his teammate afterwards. Nick Blind, he is making his way
kills.
in. He's done such a good job here so far to remain in the circle. Sure, a couple of members are down, but look at the cover that this is going to provide to Team Xspark now. They have cleared out all the threats behind them. Sure, the last 2 players, they're not in a bad spot whatsoever. They are just within the circle. We'll be able to use that third-person perspective as they come up over the ridge side to spot out any teams there. Hitman so low. Nick has already started to try and pull apart Retribution.
He's in the circle as well. He's in the next way to go, and this might actually be a little bit risky for him. You can see he's going to get up and actually beat a retreat to the other side of the circle because he doesn't want to be part of this fight. He doesn't want to be involved in the scuffle between these 2 teams who will now need to push for the circle. And look at that. He's found himself a bounty over the top of the hill. That's everything he's going to need. So he's going to be set up pretty much the best he possibly could be for this final circle.
Yeah. We've got Blind hailing from Kellerat. Told me that they're trying to make the game as popular as possible in their city, but they can't quite make it. 3rd place, they've got to be happy with it, though.
No meds for Scout, however. No meds, I guess, for either of them. They have a nice ridgeline to shuffle around. Might have a couple of things to find, and there's the meds getting looted.
This is what Team Xspark do time and time and again, is they will split up their last 2 players, John. They'll move off to 2 separate sides, take the off angles. They're very confident in their separate players and their scouting power, their fragging power, sorry. And like you said, though, Scout with no meds, Retribution in a much better spot. If Xspark want to finish this quickly, they're going to have to do it fast.
13 kills already for Xspark. SynerGE coming in with 7. Whoever cleans it out will bonus up themselves 2 points as well for a decent spot. The rotation coming out now, trying to go for the fight.
Wonderful spray.
One down for each squad.
That will provide some time to get Scout back up again.
Nade out for Hitman, launches it over. Is it going to find it? Question is, will it be able to finish out the nade? Isn't going to quite hit just yet. The res is coming out from both teams, but it was actually Xspark who had a first nade to come through. Not too sure if they have any more to deal with at the moment. Scout will be able to heal himself up just a little bit faster than Curio as Hitman goes out wide.
Ronak, the only one alive here. Scout took an absolute beating. Ronak so low. Now he's just in the smoke. Has to move off to the side. He's taking so much fire right now. Curio so low. Ronak on these last legs right now, John.
The smoke's not there. They aren't able to finish it out, and it's Retribution to claim it. They're going to finish on up top. Of course, take a look at that. That's 9 kills coming in from them. A hefty kill count, though, coming in from Xspark as well, as they do get on board. I believe that to be 13 kills there. Beautiful stuff coming in from them.
Yeah, we're going to see some highlights of that game coming at you. Interesting game for Retribution, actually, though, because they were very much in the fight a lot of the time. They had a fight between them, Blind, and also SynerGE. They survived a lot of the time, made the rotation into the circle, kept it smart, kept it cool. Sure, they lost a little bit of players, but they got that smoke screen down to begin with. And then they started to move around the mountain and the hillside that way, and then took down Team Xspark slowly but surely. It was just a very good play to keep themselves up in that one. The knock comes through onto them, gets the team player back up again, provides that off angle, and Scout just didn't have any meds whatsoever, so it's just a bit unfortunate towards the end.
It was a little bit unfortunate. I think the lack of nades there for Xspark was really what did it for them. If they'd have had any, I imagine they would have been able to play that a little bit stronger, but just didn't have the loot available.
This makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
Vicious just goes and goes, "What are you doing in here?"
Yeah, I don't think he should have been prone. I think crouching would have been the better strategy there. You can move a little bit faster. You don't have to get up. You don't have to waste time. Just hitting the deck, so did go down for it. But it has to be said as well, remember that KO, they did incredibly well. They got a lot of kills. They finished out in 5th. Well, I say a lot. They managed to get 5 kills total and finish 5th. But that's a really decent scoreline coming in from them. The 4th place team, though, Nepali Ho, only 1 kill coming out. Blind, however, with a great performance. That should launch them way on up. I think that's 12 kills being able to be accrued for them in 3rd place as well.
Yeah, like you said, that's an absolute springboard for them in this tournament. They're going to go right up on the scoreboards, which hopefully we'll see soon. I think that, for me, I think Blind played that really well, because honestly, if we watch all the way back, they were actually on that mountainside between Retribution and SynerGE for such a long time, taking fire from both, and you kept seeing them line up in the kill feed, just like slamming back on one of the either teams. Like, look, just stop it, all right? I've had enough. Just leave me alone. And then they slowly moved their way out of there, made it all the way to the top 3. So a really excellent job to Team Blind after all.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how that game played out. Nicely done. Fantastic PUBG Mobile. I mean, it's great to see that these teams are really taking this stuff on board, and there was a little bit more aggression that we saw on Vikendi, so I was a real big fan of that. Let's take a look at the scores, however. 29, topping it out for just SynerGE Retribution.
And 22 points there for Blind. Now, bear in mind, a lot of the teams currently are sat around about 40 to 30 points. That seems to be the average. So that 22-point game is absolutely huge coming into the leaderboard for Blind. Xspark obviously at 27, only 2 points behind SynerGE Retribution. MegaStars at the bottom there was 7, and it looks like the points are evening out around about 10 as we hit the bottom of this first leaderboard.
As I said before, the mark you want to be hitting to be chugging along, grinding out those points, 10 points a game. Fantastic turn up if you can get that. That will hit you with, I believe, 120 points at the end of this thing. But if you're Xspark, you've way overshot that already. 7 matches on board, and they managed to get themselves 135. They've played almost 2/3 of their matches now, and they are really streaking out in front.
Yeah, MegaX going just a little bit low. This team seems like a very bloodthirsty team, not quite getting the placement points, only 5 behind in points of their placement points with a kill point total of 45.
Big shout out to Orange Rock and Entity Gaming, though, still in those top 8, 3rd and 5th respectively, with only 4 maps played. They're 3 behind, and they are still topping it out in the top 5.
Indeed. if we look at it this way, like if Orange Rock had one game like Xspark just did just then, they would be pretty much similar scores. So pretty terrifying so far. If Orange Rock can continue to kind of hold this lead, they'll be really happy coming forward and almost guaranteed that spot in the semi-finals.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who's going to be going on up. I'm pretty sure that if you're at 2/3, if you're topping it out with about 140 points, you've already done, in my mind, what I think would be enough to try and get it. I mean, look at, you know, towards the bottom now into the red zone, you're looking at 29 points over 4 matches for Gaming Hub, but SynerGE really not happy with that. 29 points over 7. It's not the best, but Xspark there with that game will be filling up the kills leaderboard.
Yeah, MegaX also in the back there on number 4 and 5 with Paradox and Snacks. Currently, MegaX are making up for the most of their points in kills, and you actually saw it towards the end there where MegaX are just trying to flush out kills as soon as possible, make sure they get those kill points on board. They might need to start worrying about getting those placement points as we head into semi-finals and the regional finals. They want to get it all the way to the end, but currently Team Xspark looking really, really strong. In particular, I'm looking at Scout. This guy has been phenomenal so far.
Yeah, he was great in the game before. He was just controlling the northern side of Vikendi's final circles. Unfortunately, it did go down. I mean, a crash from 3 people as a solo player.
He almost did it as well.
It's so
that
hard
was the funny thing.
Yeah, he almost did it. It's so hard to deal with. But yeah, great stuff for them coming out. Xspark, you can see why to go and form their own squad. Phenomenal gameplay coming out from them, and I think they are doing absolutely what we need to see here.
Indeed, and if you want to see some more PUBG, definitely stick around, but we are going to go to a very, very quick break now, and we'll be back shortly. See you guys soon. Just see them pass. They have rocked up. It's all 4 members. Drops out. Will he find one? Yes, he does. There goes the knock. He's got... You know, it's just all 3 of them. Oh, VLT right in the corner. Assassin does go down. But already, Orange Rock taking some shots from the sidelines.
They're able to get it done. Prince will be there. We'll spot this one out. Goes up for the spray.
Excellent spray there, John.
Wins out the trade. Nicely done. And actually, Ted fires over onto Orange Rock. 8-bit.
Just move about, make sure they get a better position.
Oh, dear.
Oh, God.
My goodness me.
Drive-by. Thank you. Super useful to create 2 angles, as they are looking to do so right now. Looks like Ignite's going to go for the res instead. In a very obvious position. A zombie just comes around the corner and goes for that shot. It's going to be nice and easy. But it is Visor from the side. That's the double angle I was talking about. And that is MSX out. Can't stay there. Look, you better do...
Got it. What? Get in. No, okay. Fair enough. It looks like he is going to...
He's alive still.
The man goes down, finally taken out by the Zova. In comes the spray.
My
Mr.
Lord.
Yozo.
Hello, welcome back to the South Asian region of the PMCO 2019 Fall Split. Vivo is our title sponsor of the PMCO 2019, and if you want to be ready to beat everyone else out on the battleground, you need uninterrupted gaming with the fully loaded Vivo Z1X.
Of course, if you get that, you're going to have the 22.5 watt Vivo flash charge, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 712 as well, and a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, which is going to bring you a more immersive experience.
Absolutely. Not to mention it feels great in your hand as well. What an amazing game that we just had there.
Absolutely.
It's really, really good. And if you also want some amazing games to come your way, you can download the PUBG mobile game on the Google Play App Store as well as the iOS App Store. And if you don't ever want to miss a beat of the PUBG Mobile Esports, you can subscribe to the PUBG Mobile YouTube channel down below and smash that like button as well.
Yeah, it's going to be great to catch up with everything. There's PUBG Mobile round the clock. It's not only the South Asia region. I know it's the most important one, obviously, but there's so much more. There's so many more regions. There's so many more regions out there, and they're all going to be shown on there, so you can catch up what the other guys are doing, what sort of competition some of these teams will come up against, because 3 of them will be moving. I think it's 3 will be moving forwards. I have to double check that actually. It certainly was last time. 3 teams moved forwards to the global stages, and if you want to see what they're going to be coming up against, well, check it out over there.
Indeed, one thing that it's great to see is just the massive improvement of the South Asian teams at this time around. We've seen, like, for me, it's been a radical improvement from watching like Spring Split to come to here, watch how smart the teams is. So it's nice to see how much PUBG Mobile has been embraced in South Asia. Really, really ace. And now we're seeing exactly what kind of talent we can expect here at the PMCO 2019.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to see a lot more of these teams to come. Of course, this is the group stages. There's still the semi-final stages to go. Once 8 teams have been knocked out, the bottom 8 teams from the group stages, the scores will get reset. We'll go into the semi-finals, and then we'll go for the bottom 8 of those getting knocked off as well to give us the top 16, the 16 best teams in all South Asia to go on to those regional finals later this year.
So now we're going to head back over to a map that we're all familiar with to finish out match 4 of today. Very sad that it's coming to a close, but there'll be more tomorrow, guys. Don't you worry. We're going to get the playing path for you over on quite central, on that western to the eastern side. Yasnaya, Georgopol, Rozhok, all on that path.
Very accessible. I'm not too sure if we're going to see Xspark go down to military base. They might try and drop around some of the roads just down south. It depends if they drop out early or not. Yeah, okay. So they are going out. They might just try and drive on down and go for that repeat performance. Depends if the circle's going to go north again as well to see where they actually end up going. South George seems to be pretty popular, and actually these positions around there are going to be pretty hotly contested. North George as well is available, and a couple of teams heading over that way as people start to spread out. Pachinki, Rozhok, as always, hotspots, Yasnaya, accessible once more, and pretty much everywhere except for Military Island is a safe bet to go for a drop.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, most teams are just sticking around this northern side. I think they're all scared of having one of those awful circles again where it just like splits you in half. You're not sure whether you should cross the river or not. But we'll get the circle up on the screen very, very shortly. But yeah, it does look like Team Xspark are going to make their way down to military base. That seems to be what they like to do. Get nice and geared up. And that's really what they needed last game was gear. You saw Scout there. No equipment, no helmet, no vest, no meds either. And that's kind of what came to kick back at them in the end and was allowing Retribution to win it out. There's your circle on the eastern side, John. Western side, sorry.
Yeah, early drops will be rewarded. Georgopol still in it, quite far to the north. You've got the Everest potential finish. Quarry as well is in there, remember. A very tricky place to be navigated around. A lot of teams will be hoping that that doesn't come to pass. But it's a very similar circle, actually, to the one we saw earlier today. The earlier one was a little bit further north. It had Zaki still in it as well, but everyone's going to have a similar time of it. But the plane is quite different, as it was very easterly before. So those rotations will be a little bit modified. Xspark have mounted up in vehicles. The question is, do they go over to military base? Because there is still a portion of the circle over there. It looks like they are heading straight for it.
Yeah, it's very much a potential for them. As you can see on the screen, 8-bit occupying Pachinki. Blind is also here. Blind set themselves up in a way that they can get a crossfire going. They have players on either side of the street. Maximus X just trying to get by Team KO. Once again being quite bloodthirsty after their last game. Manu, come on! Leave them be.
He's just going to send them packing. Tail between the legs. Team KO channeling their inner. If you're watching the EU region, we had some road warriors last time around, and from hell, they were just dogged and chasing down anyone who stepped anywhere near them. So potentially we're going to see a similar thing happening here for Team KO, as they do try and look for something, but no, they are going to disengage from Maximus X. What did he just hit? Oh, okay, a little bit of fence. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Watch out for that corrugated steel. It'll get you.
Oh yeah, it will. It'll come back to bite you. Don't you worry about it. Very, very strong stuff. Not like it just bends in your hands as you wiggle it around.
Well, yeah, it's
Flimsy.
flimsy one direction. It's really stiff the other direction. That's the entire.
That's what you do. You just wrap it around you. It becomes a level 4 vest.
No. That's
not how that
That's
works.
not how that works, unfortunately. I can explain to you the technical marvel that is corrugated steel, but I just don't really feel like I want to.
Don't want to.
It's fantastic
stop
stuff.
it.
It's a fantastic material.
No.
I'll give it that.
Not interested.
Okay. It's up there with cardboard
No.
and fiberglass insulation.
No. All I know about is PUBG Mobile.
Do you?
A little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'd buy that. I'd buy that.
I'm crazy now. Obviously, the lad that fell down in the blue before is going up against ETG. Look at him. Leisurely strolls on past the door, goes up to the top side, gets 2 knocks already.
They cover almost the entirety of the cross, but unfortunately, Frost does go down.
Cover almost entirely all of it. A little bit.
He was so close to the corner, but right at the end, it was Shiwan crazy. He's just going to be able to shut it down, and the Destroyer now rolling on up. They know exactly where they are. They haven't been able to get up to the roof just yet to challenge him. He has the cover involved, and now they have the angles to be looking for.
Yeah, you can pretty be sure that ETG.Brawlers, they're in a box. They've been put in a box. It's going to be very tough to get out. But saying that, AJ does go down, so...
That's going to be fine. So what happened there was Anish actually covered the corridor, and as soon as that happened, Shiwan was able to drop down onto the bridge connecting them. He's now pushed over and boxed them in. Iconic is the wild card here. Will he be able to save his teammates from certain doom? Nicely placed Molotov there to zone ETG.Brawlers into the same place, and in they go.
Yeah, nicely done there. We're also seeing in the bottom right of your screen, Blind. They're in a bit of a fight down there versus 8-Bit.
Over at Pachinki.
They were doing a really good job to put the work on them. Anesh round the corner, lovely jump. You can't react too quickly to that one. Iconic still outside, not really getting anything done though.
Yeah, there's no way that Iconic can rescue this. Just has to get out, try and salvage what's left of his team, but unfortunately not going to be too lucky. Over in Pachinki, meanwhile, the fight is raging on, and actually quite a lot of teams going down. Iconic, hang on a minute, he might be going for something.
Yeah, does finish off AJ there. Iconic just going to first aid up. On crazy there with the med kit.
A lot of damage being chucked back and forth in Pachinki. As it looks like Iconic's finally going to disengage. He has got himself a kill point, so that's actually pretty decent in terms of salvaging the situation. But take a look at 8-Bit versus Blind. Psycho on the back is down, so they cannot rescue him.
Yeah, he's pretty much done for, basically. There's no chance of getting out. Here's Nick, though, from Blind. Saw him last game on Miramar have an absolute stonker of a game.
X-Pain loading up the nade, but thinks better of it. Instead, he's going to see if he can get an angle. 8-Bit don't need to push. They're in the next circle. They've got plenty of time, but Hyper waiting in the wings. Remember, they are down south of Pachinki and might look to crash that if they hear those shots come on through.
Yeah. X-Pain looking to go for the lean there. Doesn't quite go for it. You can throw the nade around the corner, I've been seeing, but you'd imagine that Avi knows that's coming. He saw the little hand peek around the corner.
Yeah, you do see the animation. We'll be able to spot that one out and change corners. Instead, Ash still holding the same angle. Ted has the overwatch and, in general, a really nice spot to hold this single fight. They're lucky that there isn't another team, though, trying to vie for this spot, so they must have positioned, they must have figured that out, that they're the only 2 teams in Pachinki, and they're positioning around it. Nicely done by 8-Bit.
Nick is lacking any kind of equipment, no vest, no helmet. He's going to go down very, very quickly, whereas 8-Bit look like they're very much better looted, basically, other than Ted, which we've just been shown.
Xspark did make their way all the way down to Military Island in the meantime. MSX as well, they're over on the eastern bridge as 8-Bit finally find that off angle they were looking for.
This is really well played by them. You've got Ted on the top side, preventing Nick from making any kind of peek. X-Bane goes down to a wonderful flank. Nick's going to try and go for the knock there. Does find it onto Ash. He's going to go for the flush. That's 1 point secured. Next player comes up. They're just going to try for the refrag, but so far it's too slow.
Goes to the reload. He's playing around a doorway. They're both lined up for him, but they're not going to be able to get it done. Prince and Avi able to get it down, but they lose one in the process. Is that hang on a minute. 2 teams have just dropped.
Yeah, ETG.Brawlers are out, as well as Blind now. Iconic got caught out by RIP. Team RG also just in the distance. Not doing anything yet. Team Xspark will need to start getting a move on, but they will have been sufficiently looted down from military base, and it's a pretty clear path for them coming past Ferry Pier, Quarry into Gatka.
Everyone now finding their feet. Very centrally heavy, actually. A lot of these teams, as you say, around Gatka, around the chopsticks as well in the fields. A lot of teams starting to mount up there. The next circle pop will give us an indication as to where we're going to go. A little bit further on, but a lot of these rotations are going to be heavily contested, and actually Xspark probably with the best of it. Even though they have to cross the bridge, no one's really going to be holding around that area.
No, currently everyone just trying to get to the middle. This is going to be one hell of a crash from a lot of these teams, so unsure where they're trying to get to. No one's taking control of Everest as of yet. Team Destroyers, once again, coming down from Georgia Pole. They're basically hunting grounds for the time being.
All right, next circle is
so many teams in the circle. Can you see that on your screen right now?
Absolutely.
I think they can.
The south, probably. Do you think?
I think so.
Well, if you open your eyes and take a look at the screen,
no
you'll be able
sleeping.
To see, you'll be able to see the map, and you can see Quarry still in it. Everest really quite far in the north. That's where Pain are holding at the moment. The chopsticks actually quite a valuable situation, but they do Team RG do think that they don't want to hold it anymore, and maybe find a little bit further southwest. Around Quarry is very dangerous terrain. There's a drop that's right next to 8-bit. There's the Orm as well. Has an AR suppressor landed on top of it as well. No one really going to break too far out, so if 8-bit rotate past it, they might just be able to pick that one up.
Yeah, the Orm will be a massive boon to any team that picks that one up, especially for the later circles where you can just one-tap someone and get them out of the way, especially if it's just a scout in the distance. Hardly get any information from that because you're already on the floor, face down.
Oh dear. Looks like Xspark are now starting to make this rotation over, away from that military island. A couple of these compounds are now starting to be held down into this circle. They've still got about 20 seconds before it closes. Of course, it is relatively slow still, low ticking, not too much to worry about. Everyone should be happy with themselves at the moment.
8-bit definitely going to roll on past, pick up that Orm on their way in, or at least they should. Pain now
if they've spotted it, if they spotted the drop, sure. If they think that no one else has gone for it, sure. But they might just skirt around it and go for a different rotation.
It is a bit of a death trap going for loot crates, especially this early.
Nepali Ho were rotating all the way from near Yasnaya, maybe even further up, and one of them just went down to the play zone. They are not engaged in a fight currently. Yeah,
it seems really odd. Nepali have actually spent a lot of time just really right on the outsides of the circle.
Oh, Pain, you're rotating in the same vehicle. So risky. There's 2 squads right next to you as well. Your vehicle's just been popped out, and look at you all go. It's not really going to go very well.
They're changing positions in the vehicle.
And now they're crashing straight into Team RG. This is not where you want to find yourself. Bloop. It's so tricky.
Don's just gone.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be crashed by a full squad. They don't know that they've just been in a fight. They should have heard the gunfire, so they might know that some of them are a little bit low.
Yeah, Viper took a couple of shots, so Pain do now know that they are there. But like you say, do Team RG know how injured Pain is actually feeling right now? And especially with it only being phase 2, begs the question, how many meds do they have on board, especially after that kind of fight?
Everyone is so clumped up towards the middle of this zone. They really heavily value these compounds, potentially more than they should. No one taking control of over towards Quarry. No one taking control of the western side and the hills there. Everybody's moved away from the northern side, and Pachinki, only 8-bit are left.
Any kind of shift to the north, the south, the east, or the west is going to be crazy for all of these teams, because it would basically be the great migration of PUBG Mobile as they all move to a new spot. MegaX versus Maximus X. Don't get them confused, boys. I know I have at some point. The dude down there with Ignite. Paradox and Encore on top of the hill. Paradox quite low, though. Paradox obviously on the kill leaderboard, so he's one of our top fraggers so far. But yep, Team RG currently still playing around with Pain. What is Nepali doing? They're just really quite chilled out.
Next circle will zone on towards Gatka Fields again, just south. The transition here, relatively simple because everyone did load up into those compounds. You know, it is risky, but sometimes the circles do give it to you. Xspark being on the outside might actually be an advantage here. They don't have too much terrain to work with, but they might be okay to try and move in. 8-Bit will have to move now from Pachinki. Don't think they're going to cross the path with the Orm drop that we saw earlier. As Xspark, okay, yeah, they're going to take control of the, or try and take control of the hills to the south side of this next zone.
It makes sense. Gives them a lot of opportunities and a lot of options coming out of there. MegaX currently 2-2-2 split, 2-2 split, not 2-2-2. Not that many players in a group. Hype currently looking at Retribution. Retribution got so many vehicles on board though, so this should be nice and safe moving away from there. It is Destroyers. They've gone from one fight to the next. MegaStars got a nice little position here on the hill. Avsec does go down. Kisley takes a couple of shots, but one crazy pretty much done. That will be TD going out in 14th.
The MegaStars just dispatch them like there's nothing there. Brilliant coordination to just call out the targets and go for it. Xspark actually making a long rotation now. They did opt to fall a little bit further out. They're making a clockwise rotation all the way around Quarry. They will be on the western side here. So I was saying, you know, everyone's loaded up in those fields and those compounds. Xspark, now they're going to capitalize on that. They've spotted out this information and they're going to rotate around and change it up. So good stuff coming out from them.
It does seem what we've seen so far. Xspark is very keen on taking this high ground position, especially on ridge sides where they can all prone, comb out a little bit, quite a little bit split, and then watch out for all the teams as they come through. And they're really good at getting down from those positions as well. So I'm completely on board with this rotation from them. Very, very smart. Currently, teams just looking for a location to stay. Not really too many big fights going on as of yet. 8-Bit, now you can see them making their way in from Pachinki. The long drive down.
They have made that rotation. It should be fine. This is a similar trajectory that Xspark took originally into this zone. The question is, do they have the same wherewithal to try and hold out this zone? You still got SynerGE, as you say, on those mountains to the south side, holding it down, trying to zone people away. But we're still with 13 teams alive now, moving into phase 4 as the circle closes. Everyone is into the circle and found themselves a little bit of their slice of paradise.
Yeah, a little bit of respite from the enemy teams. Pain. I mean, they've been feeling a lot of pain this game, let's be honest with them. Going from one place to the next and just being fired upon wherever they go. Very, very sad. Looks like they have found a place for to call their own now, though. Hype currently holding their compound. But look, 4 teams so close to each other. And really in this area just south of Gatka, yeah, there are a lot of compounds where you can hold up, but they are so much in close proximity of one another.
This is the power that compounds can give you, though. You can exist very close to one another, as you say, and still be fine. The next circle pops, moving it south. A lot of those compounds are going to still be in it, and it's the hills to the east of Quarry where we're going to find our finish here now, Blank. As there's a drop in the way of Hype, so they might just halt their rotation and wait for that one to hit the deck and see what they can pick up there. A nice level 3 armor refresh for them to be able to stock up on. At the moment, Xbox still all the way out west. Very passive this game compared to last time.
Yeah, it looks like what they're really going to go for here is that instead of going for the aggressive games we've seen before, they have set themselves up very, very nicely on the leaderboard. So if they can make it up to that top 4, top 3, really, then they'll secure a lot of points on board, and that'll just keep them consistently in that first place. Just show off some dominance, but just play it smart now, because they really do have the points. They're almost guaranteed the semifinals position. MegaStars final boss, just a couple of hits, will go down. Team RG really just sending the lead on over.
Yeah, they are going to be able to get the explosion on the vehicles there as well, as Dave just has the
cheeky
firing
position.
range. Very difficult to hit that shot, but as soon as you line it up, it's pretty much night for Dave. They will be able to take this vehicle out, just pouring the damage in. The question is, when's it going to explode? Will MegaStars be able to back off and get it themselves, negate that fear? But everything else as well getting exploded. This is going to mean MegaStars have a real difficult rotation because they won't have any vehicles to make it away from this spot.
What they do have in hand, though, John, is the smoke. Try and make a smoke train up the hill there. The vehicles do not cause too much of a problem as they go off. Ears will be ringing a little bit. That's about it. Hype, though, have attracted a lot of attention to themselves as you see MegaStars actually start to clap back at them.
Over on the eastern side, there's a lot of teams grouped up. We're focusing on the northwest, but there's about 3 or 4 teams with a 5th as well in the wings trying to vie for these foothills. As well as Xspark over on the west, pretty much completely untroubled the entirety of this game so far. I don't think they've been in a single fight. They are doing pretty well for themselves at the moment, but 8-Bit finally clashing with Team KO. Remember, Team KO did very, very well last time around on Miramar.
Yeah, it seems like they've found their feet right now, and confidence can do absolute wonders for you as a team. Like you say, Team Xspark taking the pacifist route towards the circle will actually start letting off some shots now onto SynerGE. Somehow MegaStars have found themselves a vehicle, all loading up in it though, which is a bit of a difficult situation. That's Tempest going down, and with that, RIP looking at a little bit lost really at this point.
It's a very difficult hillside to operate for pretty much anyone who wants to hold it. Everyone's going to be looking there, and if Rip officials start to push on in, then they might just be able to take it from someone if they get the right sight lines. But I'm looking at Retribution over on their own hillside, over on their own ground, controlling so much of the circle. The next zone, though, it is going to go towards MegaX. Pain can leave their compound as well and try and get a little position in. But at the moment, I think it's MSX who have the best compound going forwards. The question is, will they be able to survive the crashing from all the teams looking to try and take them down?
Indeed. It's going to be tough for them to remain there. But it should be okay. Team Xspark, they've got a long way to go on that southwestern side, but most teams trying to make their way in. Once again, Retribution trying to take that central position as they did last game. They are actually unleashing a lot of fire onto many other teams. Scout there with a DP finally putting in the work so far ahead.
Oh dear, a lot of damage being flung on back to Nepali Ho. Pressing shots coming on, and Alex is really not having the best of it. It's a destructible shack there that they're sat in as well.
And this can only go badly, really, at the end of the day.
Oh yeah. I think it might do.
You can actually hear the pan taking shot. Actually, that's the vehicle outside.
That is the vehicle. Xspark have made their way in, as well as the MegaStars now pushing in from the western side. SynerGE have now controlled the southwest, but there's a little bit of a scuffle over up to the north as Hype take on Team RG.
Indeed. Nixon down. Team RG only have one player to worry about. It is Gurkha. Playzone will take down Twister. Surprisingly, RIP are still in this game. Naruto goes down as well, and I think that...
For now, having the outside position is more than likely going to give you the better finish. So going in and then coming out, a lot harder, as we say time and time again. Everyone wants to try and be a little bit outside, and they could spread out, take some off angles, and try and get the picks that way.
Yeah, you've got the lower class down there with SynerGE, middle class in Team RG, and Bane upper class, feeling quite good about themselves. It's really just a bit of a train of fire going down the hillside. MegaX still in this one. I keep touting them as quite a consistent team. I still hold true to that one. SynerGE looking for some shots. Team Xspark right on top of Team KO, looking for the knockout on them.
They're going to be pushing down towards the hill as well, and it looks like it's going to go well for them. I think that's Team KO eliminated. Xspark wiped the hillside. 8-Bit looking to go for that loot crate, though.
Yeah, Nepali were able to hold back on Maximus X, but for how long, John? Because you know that Team Xspark are going to be making that rotation now that the circle just popped. Sprays coming out from Maj Alpha. Hype does finally go down, so that is Gurkha out of there. MegaStars Vex also gone. Final boss bleeding out on the mountainside.
Yeah, a lot of the MegaStars players in a real big spot of bother. A lot of them going down very, very low. MSX now get the circle again. Now this compound has just doubled in value. And you can see that Retribution, they've realized that. They send their scout in to try and figure out where those players are.
Yeah, Maximus X definitely heard him.
Oh, in comes another crash.
To the side.
MegaX as well are coming in for the fight.
Snacks just outside. Avi takes down Mega Kisley. Paradox actually got hit pretty badly there. Does manage to find himself in the building just across from Maximus X. Retribution Curio has the nade in hand. Does lob it through.
Will it hit anything? The rest of his squad has now mounted up and rolled on through. Mega get eliminated in the meantime as Xspark have Overwatch on the entire situation, but the blue is going to be their worst enemy. What a crash coming in as well, as everybody wants a piece of this compound. Everybody's moving in, and the fight is breaking out.
Bashu makes his way in. Maximus, the dude, does not live for very long there. KO drops out the back, just wants to hide, knows it's all over. Maj Alpha doing a wonderful job. That is a perfectly executed crash from SynerGE, but it is Retribution. It looks like they've come out on top.
There's plenty more crashes to come, though, as well, because you've got to remember that Xspark and their Pain have to move on in. RG and 8-Bit all looking for a piece of the pie. Nepali Ho still in the fight in their little shack. They're holding it down, but for how long?
Basically a cannon in there from Alex. Yeah, sure. It's a glass cannon because the shack itself is destructible, but they're doing a very good job to toss it back. NLR2 finally down. Ted also putting the hurt onto Team RG. RG taking fire from pretty much all sides right now. Scout and Xspark holding the hill. Awace makes the risky maneuver in the vehicle.
He brings the vehicle back up.
Paratosh very, very low. Yeah, MegaX definitely know exactly where Team Xspark are holding.
Over on the northern side, Pain taking heavy casualties as well as they fight off with Team RG on their rotation. Xspark, they have a difficult push down the hill. They need to try and rely on a third-party system going on as 8-Bit get eliminated. All of these teams want a building, and there's still the boys from Nepali Ho just holding out for as long as they can. They've gotten so far. How much further will they go?
The shack is taking them a very long way, despite looking quite destructible, quite fragile indeed. Killsome there, making his way in.
Oh my goodness me! Straight onto the compound.
Retribution. So happy with that one.
The circle shift is just in their favor yet again. There's the blow up on the vehicle. Won't quite get the kill though.
Despite that, they're just wearing absolutely massive gear there, literally bomb defusal kit on them, so they don't actually take too much damage from the vehicle exploding.
Hiding in that little shed outside. He should be safe for now, but when the crash comes through from Xspark, that's when it's going to be risky for him. Pain as well. They have their wild card on the outside, but he does need to move south and further into the compound to stay alive in the next zone. Team RG, they're holding in the smoke, but they've got open ground to cross, and with Xspark's Overwatch, that's going to be really tricky. Nepali Ho have to push in as well, so they have to finally leave their shack. As the smokes start to bloom, they'll have to push out.
Yeah, Xspark, once again, they need the smokes to get out of there. Nepali Ho actually starting to drop down the smoke, trying to get over to where MX and Retribution are chilling. Team Xspark, they're in a hard situation there, as you do see Paratosh finally going down. Awace in a really tough spot. The vehicle actually moves away from him. That's so upsetting.
That is unfortunate. Scout going down, just one left for Xspark now.
Ronak
taken very, very low. The team in the compound, the guys who were there early, really coming out to play.
Ronak just has to rely on all these teams coming together at the very last moment.
Nepali Ho just went out, and Ronak was the one who got the kill, so they've laddered up again for another couple of points. A lot of kills being earned now by all of these squads.
Excellent shots from Ronak there. It does take down Retribution Curio, which was the only guy really giving that much harassment. Everyone else from Retribution downstairs. MegaX, the only other line of sight on him. Ronak done an excellent job to really take away and cut away that threat which was causing him so much issues. But here's Snacks. Kinetic K. One shot from that as it leaves the barrel, and Ronak could be done.
The heal up is there, so he might just be able to stay safe for now, but he does need to move a little bit further forwards to be into the zone. The blue will push him. RG were eliminated in the ensuing fray, so now we're down to the top four. Ronak not going to be able to heal. He hasn't started it already, or he might have done, actually, to be able to pick it on up. I think he was. No, he is going to go down. There we go. In fourth place, it's Xspark, and now we're left with everyone else left in there. It's MegaX, it's Retribution, and who's that in the middle is KO. Just chilling. He's just hoping that one team wipes the other and he can try and pick up the pieces.
Yeah, KO's been in this extension on the Longhouse for such a long time. This was just after SynerGE dropped, so this is actually a really good decision from Maximus X, KO here, deciding in fact that, you know what, I'm going to go for those placement points, and we touted how important they actually are to hold on to.
I think that the next circle is actually including both of these buildings again.
So this is going to be a long game, boys. I hope you brought your snacks, your picnics, because we're going to be here for a while.
Everything is resting the calm before the storm. Neither team wants to leave. Swag actually probably has the best spot here. He's on the roof, which means that as soon as SynerGE need to leave, he'll find out.
Interesting nade from KO there. Just tosses out the building.
Swag will know exactly where he is.
Surely
He might be able to see him.
Yeah, surely Swag knows that that's happened.
Oh, Mayo's left the house.
KO could make his way.
In comes Curio.
Curio drops down.
KO.
I don't think he's noticed. Curio's just chilling out there. KO does not see him. Goes immediately down. What a read from Retribution. Curio there. Drops out the side of the building. Must have been so very quiet to do it. Snacks and Swag both on the top of the building. There comes a kill through from Paradox, one of our kill leaders. He goes very, very low. So now only 2 players remaining for Retribution. They know the players are on top of the roof.
You can cook it. He needs to go over.
Oh, it's
you peeked
underarm,
too
though.
wide. He peeked way too wide there. He could have cooked it behind cover, gone for the trajectory later. But now this is the go time for MegaX as they roll on in. It is just Hitman left standing, 1 versus 3.
There's a massive contract on the head of MX right now. Can Hitman close it out? No, he cannot. MegaX come away with match 4, our final match of the day. Total of 6 kills. Not a huge amount. Retribution can be very, very happy with the amount that they were able to accrue to.
That's a lot. There's 12 kills coming in for them. They might actually, will they be able to overtake it? It's a 6-point difference between first and second. Did they get 6 more kills? I think they did. I think they actually just nailed it. So they're going to be drawing even on the kill count, on the points score there. So with the kill tiebreaker as well, they should be topping it out in total.
Yeah, done a really, really good job. I think MegaX have just, to be honest with you, from day 1 to day 2 to day 3, well, not day 2 because they weren't playing, but from day 1 to day 3, right, I think MegaX have done a really good job at just improving slowly as we've gone on. And it seems like as the confidence builds for them, the more they are great at fragging. We're getting some highlights on the screen right now. As you saw the playing path once again, how things panned out towards the end. Here's this nice little fight we had at the beginning there, a bit of a scrap between the 2 teams. Ultimately, did go a little bit sour for the Destroyers. They kind of let it all out in one.
1 shot and done.
Yeah, the one and done.
That was it. They were like, okay, we did a good play. Let's just chill out.
Let's just chill out now. Last match.
To be fair, you get yourself 3 points. You can try and just ladder up to 7th position or something like that. Play very passively and get a decent scoreline on the game. Yeah, it's enough to get it done. That's the thing. Remember, this is group stages.
This was this crazy fight as a SynerGE actually went in and then got taken down by Retribution afterwards. So it was like 3 teams all clashing there. Team Xspark, decent position on the hillside there. No way to get down though. So very unfortunate towards the end. And here's that final play. Not a single tick on the Swag there. Really bringing the swagger at the end of the game. Takes a shot through. And there's nothing else to be done.
What you really want to see from a push like Xspark is you aren't going to be able to cover every single part of your push. So what you do instead, smoke the window, smoke the peeking angles that they're going to be playing around. Because you push it up, you obscure so much of their sight line that they have to try and reposition, and that's your window of opportunity to push down the hill. It's unfortunate. It's not the best way because you're only isolating 1 peeking angle per smoke. Whereas if you cover your entire path, then you're going to get a little bit more. But either way, they were going to go down in 4th, and take a look at that. Drawing even 26 points apiece, MegaX and SynerGE.
Yeah, Retribution with 12 kills. Like you said, we'll be tying it up there. Maximus not far behind. Xspark with 14 points as well. So Xspark actually pretty happy with that result going out in 4th, and despite the bad position they had on the hill there. Reckoning Esports there, down in 13. 8-bit Nepali Ho, Pain Esports. Again, evens out around 10, but this game was a little bit more hefty in terms of kill points towards the top. So we've had teams who will start to flow down as we go through the leaderboard. But we'll be interested to see what our final leaderboards are. SynerGE, that crash came through. It looked pretty excellent, but they went in, and then Retribution came along with a broom and just cleaned them out.
Swept them under the rug. Said bye-bye. That's it. You're done, mate. Your day's over.
I mean, here's match 4. Their day is quite literally over now.
Well, yeah. I mean,
sad way to go out.
Fair enough. But in comes the total scoreboard. A couple of teams still holding out. But look at that. Orange Rock still in 4th place. That is absolutely insane. They are currently sat 55 points beneath the current leader, Xspark, which is quite obviously a very achievable scoreline for them in a single day. Yeah. So we'll be looking out for them tomorrow. Make sure you do tune in then.
Indeed, and if you don't want to miss a beat and you want to come back and check out some more PUBG Mobile Esports, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel below, which is PUBG Mobile Esports as well. Subscribe, smash that like button. If you also want to play some PUBG Mobile for yourself, you can download on the Google Play App Store and on the iOS App Store as well. But here we get the rest of the teams coming through, all even around about 40 as we come through the past on day 3.
Here we go. This is the lower end of it. The, oh dear, Hype and KO, both very unhappy there to be sat on the red zone page after 8 games. As we move over to our kills leaderboard, 21 kills for Scout. It's MegaX and it's Xspark as well, just filling out this board at the moment. Huge numbers of kills starting to rack up, of course, now. 8 maps played, so we're looking to break those 20 kill points.
Yeah, Scout doing a really good job with 21 total. Paradox there, really strong fragger from MegaX. Seems they're putting a little bit more emphasis on making it towards the end of those zones now and actually getting those placement points. So it seems like they've just completely changed it up. Anyway, it is now the end of the day for us. Match 4 completed. I know you're sad to see us go. We're sad to see you go as well. But from me and John, I've been Blank. Goodbye and good night.